Friday Night Hobby Live, number 175 of the longest running episodic, whatever the hell this is.
It's 1 3/4, man.
It's utterly ridiculous.
25 more to 200, Eric. 200.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Madness.
The question is, are you imperial or metric, Carlos?
Imperial.
I can't support this behavior, and people need to knock it off.
Alas, you do support the behavior with every like button press. Eric supports it. Hit the like button. Eric shall pay. He shall support it.
It's probably the hockey card market that keeps you imperial.
It is true. Non-sports showcase was first out of the blocks earlier today with "Let's Go Kansas City Swifties." If Eric's Hex has something to say about it, we'll see. Global, good day there, my hobby brothers and sisters. Good day to you.
True.
Jeff McMahon, hello. Hello to you. See, I'm actually, the good news with me is when I saw that 175, I'm like, I think it's time for me to start thinking ahead a little bit. I got to start planning out for number 200.
Big plan.
Yeah, what cavalcade of Eric clips shall we play from the because we had clips from the first 100, and now maybe I'll pull some clips from the next 100. Who knows? But at least I give myself some time. So that mathematically should be within this year. We get to 200. That doesn't count the impromptus and such.
All I can guarantee is they'll be equally as bad.
We can only hope.
Yes,
we can only hope.
If not
That's
better.
The plan, Eric. That's the plan. But in the meantime, before we get to that lofty height, first, we want to thank Frank, friend of the channel, AMG Collectibles, AMGcollectibles.ca, and the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. We will be back on Monday for another podcast where we'll be able to showcase some new things coming in the shop. And I can tell you that I've been getting the images already. It's a nice mix. There's some pretty good stuff. A little basketball. I see the hockeys. I see a couple different things that have been sent my way already. And we'll be able to showcase them this Monday. Very exciting. Thank you to AMG Collectibles and the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel for being friends of the channel and supporting the podcast and the live stream. Good evening, Philly Joe.
Yes, thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. So last week was actually really fun. There was a lot of enjoyment coming off of the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, but I think we've successfully beaten that horse well into glue. So it's at the Elmer's factory and it's done. So we'll move on from that. Now, however, I will say we got two things going on. The obvious was the one I put in the title, Super Bowl Sunday coming up here. We got the weekend coming up, the actual Super Bowl, not the one that I thought was last week. If you follow the podcast, you'll understand why I make reference to that. The actual Super Bowl Sunday. But what's funny about this is that now that we're at this point, two things are going to happen. Number one, obviously the game itself, and various prop bets, fortunes will be won and lost, probably just Eric's. But the point is, you've got all that happening for you. But touching on a topic we talked about last week, from what I understand from watching the social medias and the videos, it sounds to me like Cards HQ, everybody's favorite in the hobby, is actually going to start doing some live selling from Cards HQ on Whatnot on Super Bowl Sunday in the lead up to the big game. So finally, we get to see the stupid thing in action and see if, all right, you talk this whole thing up. Like, let's see how you do. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it runs. And presumably you're doing it from the locations. So we'll get a chance to see what that looks like. I think they're doing it on Whatnot, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan of Whatnot, but I'll probably check it out for a little bit just to see what it looks like, just to see how they run their operation based out of the store. So
if he would have got a commercial in the Super Bowl, that would be something.
The commercial ad time would be worth more than it cost him every penny he spent up until this point. Just to say, just the other 130-second ad.
Like $1 million a minute or some ridiculous thing, right?
Well, you get 30
more
seconds.
More than that.
It's just going to be. Anyways, I'll leave that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll have to see. Like I said, for anyone who is curious, I'm just throwing that out there. That might be something worth keeping an eye out on if you are curious or if you care. Otherwise, I will say cards-wise, there hasn't been too much going on. I will touch on one more Cards HQ topic, but I'll keep it really brief.
I had one too.
We'll touch on one more here just because I think it's worthwhile mentioning. Let's go here. Watch party for the Super Bowl Cards HQ Live. Listen, I thought about it. Here's the thing. I have no moral objection to doing it because I'd be sitting down. I basically have two areas. In my office, I've got my screens where I do this and where I'm watching the games. A lot of times I'm watching the games in my office anyway. Sorting some cards. I got my table here. I got another table over here. I can be doing some stuff and have the game on and whatever. But So it'd be very easy for me to just do it from here. But I figure because it's the Super Bowl, I figure most people will actually be watching the game, or they'll be somewhere watching it or whatever, and might not be conducive to the live stream atmosphere. So I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. 100%, I'll be doing a post game for sure because I've done that the last couple of years. So I'll figure out kind of the timing on that, and then I'll start a live stream right towards, I guess, towards the end of the game, and then just post game. I'll see if I can invite some folks. I know some football folks that might be interested in talking up the game. I'm sure they'll be watching. And then curious to see if they have any thoughts on it. And we can close off the football calendar with a discussion at the end of that game. One way or the other, that is what I'm sure of.
I think that's the one thing we got to look at now is it's 350 days till the next Hall of Fame.
It is. Got to start planning ahead of time. So I was trying to find a social media post. I know he talked about it. Well, he talked about it in his video, the Jeff Wilson Show channel.
Yeah, there was a question there that
Go ahead.
Did they say that they sold how many boxes, or was it packs? Was the question?
Well, that's what I'm going. So that's exactly what I'm going to refer to.
Right, I was going to bring this up too.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute, and we'll give it. So I watched what Sports Card Radio had to say about it, and again, I have no issue with their take on it. I understand they've got their angle that they want to play on it. So we've got one angle of folks that really want to pick on certain specific things. I had a little mini debate on the Discord about it as well, but we'll give our take on it, our version of it as well. But I'll go a little bit different than the direction that some folks did, and I'll kind of run you through why here in a second. So we got Michael Ham here. Good evening, Michael Ham. Yep, no cap. Bobby B looking serious tonight in the Garage of Knowledge. Man, 540 flips is bringing the verbiage of the kids. I like it.
Don't listen to him. We just need to block. We need to block this guy. I don't want him in the chat anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I use your moderator-like powers. You don't have them, but you could pretend you have them and like push buttons on the keyboard and see if anything happens. No harm in it. Give it a go. I'll state my opinion, Carlos, but I have to begin by explaining the establishment of Russia in 862. Listen, I'm a history major. Bring it. Let's do it, Bob Ozel. Sounds good. TJF, thought I'd have some fun tonight, but wised up and decided to watch the live stream. Psh. Why bother with that?
That makes sense.
Listen, you got to do what you got to do. We appreciate you, Dufex. Steven here. Good evening, gents. What's the snack of choice for Super Bowl Sunday? I think that's a valid question. Do you have a preferred? What is the snack of choice? I'll quickly give mine. I really like Chicago mixed popcorn. Chicago mixed popcorn. I like it. I'm a fan.
The Costco crack?
I've definitely got it from there. There's a couple different brands. I've tried the different versions of it, but they're good.
One of the better ones.
There's some good ones. Yeah. I'm a fan of that. That's my deal.
Do you have that in the U.S.?
Costco
crack.
Costco crack.
So it's the cheese popcorn with the caramel corn mixed together.
They're separated, right? They're separated in thirds.
Nope.
No, they're literally it's a mix. The Chicago mix is you got the ones with cheese and you got the ones with caramel, and they basically are mixed together.
But the caramel
on this one. I don't like popcorn. I never have. So I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't shop for it.
Your customary gruel will suffice. We figured.
I don't
put pepper on it.
You can put pepper on
it. Maybe I'd like it more. I don't know.
All right. Well, do you have a Super Bowl snack? Period. Do you have one?
Hot dogs with pepper.
Chocolate sticks. Okay, fine. Black Box Hobby says, do you pay ice cream cake? Do you pay attention to Super Bowl commercials? Not in the last couple of years, to be honest. I like some of the classic ones. I like some of the to be honest, I like the really iconic ones. There's some that have stuck the test of time. I like watching old compilations of Super Bowl commercials. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. The original, the OG, like Apple computer Super Bowl commercials, I love those when they produce those ones. I thought that was really cool. Like the OG one. I even like the one that got Apple out of the game for years, where they did the one where people were walking off a cliff, and that was so controversial in 1985 that they didn't come back for years. I thought it was well done, though. I still thought it was very interesting. And in the 90s, there were tons of tremendous ones, tons, like really, really good. There was a lot of creativity. I want to give a lot of props to them for coming up with. I feel like the last maybe 10, 15 years, they're just not. They're there.
And see what competition does. It brings out the best in you, and Fanatics hasn't got that.
There you go. Fair enough. So I'll touch on it. Do you guys have a favorite Super Bowl commercial you want to throw out there?
ring, ring. I wonder if Eric's there. Ring, 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 ring.
What's up?
What's up? Ring, ring, Carlos.
There you go. I'm going to move on to the next comment. 540 Flip says, Mayo, popcorn, winning the playoffs. What the fuck do you like, Eric? Nothing. Just nothing, man.
Not you. I don't like you, and I wish you would go.
Don't say that about Stuke. We like Stuke. He's good.
Man,
don't say that about Stuke. He's a good man.
Sticks and mail.
I don't know who this guy is, but if I ever get my hands on him, man, I'm telling you, it's going to get ugly.
Terrible. Cream cheese stuffed jalapenos wrapped in bacon. All right. All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
I miss the classic Miller Lite commercials. Fair. Thank you, Carla. Okay. So let me touch on this real quick. So the video in question was from the Jeff Wilson show.
Yep.
And we'll come back to the Super Bowl topic here in a second. So, but I want to make sure we at least touch on this since we were discussing it a little earlier. So let me open it up here on the screen so we're looking at it. And it says the numbers right on it. So I'll kind of touch on where I contend with a little bit of this and where I kind of push back on it. So the title right there is the point. We sold 1,500 boxes and 5,000 plus cards in 5 days of Cards HQ. Okay. So 1,500 boxes and 5,000 plus cards. So here's the thing. The 5,000 cards, whatever, you know, people can buy multiple cards, so be it. The thing that I think was a question, an open question, was the 1,500 boxes. And kind of the point of the little mini debate that we were having on the Discord was the only real question. Look, here's the thing. There's folks that are going to be like, oh, well, he made up that number. It's bullshit number, whatever. Maybe it is. But the truth is, I can't validate that one way or the other, and neither can you. However, even if it is a real number, for the sake of argument, just for the hell of it, let's play devil's advocate and let's say that is a legitimate number. Here's the problem with it. Without context, it's meaningless. What is considered a box? You just said 1,500 boxes. You didn't say 1,500 hobby boxes. You didn't say 1,500 blaster boxes. No. Blister packs could be, come in a box. What is a box? It matters because a blaster box, just so we're thinking about this seriously, a blaster box, I could buy 3 or 4 blaster boxes for the price of one hobby box as one person. There you go. You sold me 4 boxes.
Number 15 by 3. Right.
Yeah, but you sold me 4 or 5 boxes, right? If we go by, if we leave it that open ended, that's so. My point was, I don't give a shit if Jeff Wilson's telling the truth or not. It's an irrelevant number. Without context, the number means nothing. And by the way, you know what else means nothing? You said sold 1,500 boxes. You didn't say you sold 1,500 at a profit. Again, even if it's true.
That's the thing. I was looking at it from that angle. He was kind of, you can hedge what he's saying by, did he kind of buy out to sell to somebody else to say that he had the sales? It was really just a amicable deal between one guy buying and one guy selling. And here you go. There's your supply. Here's your supply. Just go through me. I can say 15,000. Sorry. That's a lot of boxes. It's Atlanta. Come on.
Atlanta. Yeah. US Sports Card says, will it be a Fanatic Sports Card Super Bowl commercial? I don't know if this Ruben, it would be a lot of money, but it would get in front of a lot of eyeballs if you want to play that game. Yeah. So Alan here says, I think Sports Card Radio debunked those nincompoops over at Cards HQ. So first of all, bonus points for using nincompoops. I appreciate that.
And
but secondly, I watched the live stream, and here's the thing. They argued that it's not likely. They argued that the number doesn't make any sense, and they gave their reasons why. But that isn't debunking. No. Again, what I just said a moment ago, if I count blaster boxes as boxes, I could easily get you to 1,500. How generous and by the way, I also didn't say you were 1,500 at profit. But again, using my example, the number means nothing. Yeah. He may as well have said 15,000. He could have said 15 million. Who gives a shit? So my point, my pushback would be different. I'd just be like, dude, without context, that number literally means nothing.
And to think that he had 15,000 boxes in stock there, that's a lot. That's a lot of stock. I don't care. Whatever hobby boxes, what have you. That's still a lot of boxes. That's a lot of cases of boxes.
But he also, now correct me if I'm wrong. To my knowledge, he didn't specifically say in store, right? So those could have been online sales included.
He didn't, but they haven't activated the online yet.
Okay,
that's the thing. Like the store. So the reality is, if you have all your sales, so like I said, I'm being serious about this for a minute, just so we can get through this piece here. I don't give a shit about the number because without the context, it's meaningless. That's number one. Number two. you can make a legitimate argument. Oh, well, he's just making a bullshit, propaganda number. Yeah, totally, 100%. But again, I'm saying, even if we use devil's advocate and we say, for the sake of argument, he's giving you a real number because it isn't clear what that number means. You might as well have said 15,000. Like,
Yeah.
I can't check. So is it mathematically improbable?
Can.
It is. But the thing is, the whole argument that the Sports Card Radio guys were making is that it doesn't make sense mathematically, given how many boxes you have to sell per hour, blah, 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 which I agree. But the problem is, I go back to, what if you count blasters? Or what if, to their point, what if you count packs as boxes? Well, if you count packs as boxes, one box has 36 packs in it, or 24 packs, or 18 packs. I'm sorry, we could get to 1,500 in 12 seconds. That's not hard. That means nothing. Yeah. So the important thing is, what does that mean? Also, by the way, quick side point as well, I'll throw this at you. What if I just sold them at cost?
Yep.
Then who gives a shit? Oh, you sold 1,500 bucks. Well, great. Congratulations.
Well, did you even sell them if that's the case?
That's what I mean.
Maybe
so what I'm saying.
Profit.
So what I'm saying is that number in a vacuum with no context is the most meaningless number that you could give. And the amount of cards sold, whatever.
If he did, good for him. If anything, he can do that in his first opening week. After that, it's still Atlanta.
Yeah, it's still Atlanta. The real information that I want is turn on the freaking website. That's the part I care about. Turn on the website, turn on the whatnot. Let's see the breaker, pods get activated. That's the point is, I think here's the thing where I understand where the Sports Card Radio guys can have their fun with this specifically is that Jeff is the one who is making all the statements about revolutionizing retail. He said that. He is the one who said, his words, that they were going to study his operation. That's his goal, is that they would study his operation. I'm like, there is nothing you have done that is interesting or original. It is a very nice looking store.
That electronic little, puppy baby monkey.
But you haven't turned it on yet. The point is, right now, it's just standing there. It's a statue. If you activate it and make some use out of it, then we can talk. But at the moment, right now, you're just running a normal card shop, except it's really big. That's all you've done. It's just you've got a card shop with some showcases that you can see in Asia, and it's really big. Oh, but you have a break. So what? There are people who have breaking areas and again, they're operating a smaller shop. They don't need 14,000 square feet because it's wasted space unless you are able to use it appropriately. Mm-hmm. At the moment, you've just got a lot of space. That's it.
Yep. Question for the chat. Puppy baby monkey, was that a commercial on the Super Bowl? And if so, when?
This is a very important thing for Bobby because he was struggling to say these words before we went live. I'll read a couple of comments while you guys are figuring that out. Better find out what's in the box. Yes. Maybe it was counting boxes in Fahrenheit. I like what you're thinking, Carlo. I like what you're thinking. G.O.A.T is a marketer. He can spin figures to whatever sounds good. Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, like I said, figures without context mean nothing. He should have gone for 5,000 boxes and 15,000 cards.
He might have been better off
even fancier.
15,000 Will Grooves.
Yeah, may as well. Yeah, why not? I sold 5,000 boxes of 89 Topps wax boxes for $5 each. Psh, you see? You blew them out of the water.
Done.
We sold 15,000 boxes in a week. Fanatics, hold our beer. Boxes are too cheap. That's right. People can buy cases at a time. Yes, you can. But again, don't downplay the blaster angle. Blaster boxes are boxes. If you count a blaster box, again, let's say I just want, I'm on a budget. I have the amount of money to buy a hobby box or a small group of blasters. If you're counting each one of those as a box, I can buy 4 or 5 of them for the price of one hobby box in a lot of cases. Well, great. You sold me 4 boxes, right? Again, it depends on how you define a box. That's the important part. They could have been selling $10 mystery boxes for all we care. Yeah.
Oh,
they just wanted to hit the biggest number. And $1,500 puts people on notice. Good for them if true. Yeah. But that's why I said that because you never defined what a box meant, $10 mystery boxes, I'm not super impressed. So that's why I said, looking at it, you've shown me nothing.
Has anybody ever bought a mystery box? Carlos?
No, I have not bought a mystery box. There is the one that they've got at the Expo, though. I would love to get the one that they've got. I forget which dealer it is, but there's one where they have like you get a jersey, an 8x10 and something else.
Puck.
Yeah.
And then you have the chance for the other things.
Yeah, it's expensive, but I wouldn't mind buying one just to try it once.
I bought one, $300 for me and Dave. We split on one. And then we got, whatever we did, we got our money back. The thing was, there was only so many boxes left because they sell out. and they said this was redeemed, this was redeemed. Like there was a Crosby jersey, there was a stick, all these things. But a lot of people took them away and took them home, and you didn't know. So you assumed that they were still not claimed yet because all those items were still there in the back.
Yep.
So we didn't know that, and we got suckered in, and we bought another box because we did well on the first box. Yeah, and it ended there.
Gotcha. So here's so a couple of good comments here that are kind of playing into what I was getting at. So here, this one, or Ultra Pro 400 count boxes. Again, he didn't say hobby boxes.
Shoot.
See, like he didn't say he just said boxes. Boxes can mean anything. That's why the number means nothing to me. I can't even. I'm not even going to waste a lot of time arguing about the number, because even if it's true, unless you tell me what it actually means, then it means nothing.
It might be 400 boxes at this point. With
Puppy Monkey Baby 2016 for Bob Boozle. Okay. There's another one. Hangers could count as boxes. Yes, that is true. They could. Again, if we leave it open-ended.
If they're in cardboard, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like you can get those hanger packs that are inside of a little piece of cardboard. If you count that as a box, then trust me, those you can buy 4 or 5 of those relatively cheap. Like it's not that hard. So that can skew your numbers way up and make it look a lot better if you leave it open-ended. A few cases of blasters got that number down pretty quick. Yep. Get that number down pretty absolutely.
One of
Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari red. Who's the F1 expert here? Eric, you do something that you pretend that cyclocross is a sport. Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari.
It's a huge move. He has been racing for Mercedes for a long time. He's he's definitely up there in the conversation of GOAT in that sport. And all of a sudden this news came out that really shook the F1 world. And I think I read that it's not this upcoming season, but like the following season. I'm not 100% sure on that. He may still have to race this season with Mercedes, but it's a huge contract, and he's going to have a lot of power and input into this new Ferrari deal.
There you go.
I want to drive Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Tom here says, but can't remember the exact combo. Puppy Monkey Baby, Mountain Dew. Bob Jackson here says, we sold 15,000 boxes of 91 Donruss baseball for $7. Now, here's the thing. I would actually be impressed by that. That would actually impress me. That would impress me way more than all the other numbers he tries to throw out. You sell 15,000 boxes of 91 Donruss. I am impressed, sir. Yes. I am impressed. I will give you a kudos for that. Dufek says, I like the old E-Trade ad with the dancing monkey and tagline. Well, we just wasted $2 million. Yeah. Valid. Valid. My daughter's a Ferrari fan and hates it. Yes. They gathered up all the cardboard boxes from the move-in, recycled them for a penny each. Hey, listen, man. Whatever helps us get to the propaganda number, man. A good point I heard was that Jeff claims that fans will visit a store after Braves games in Atlanta. Who goes to card shops at like 10 at night? Yeah, I'm very doubtful. Don't hold your breath on that one.
I think it's more before the game.
I was going to say, before the game, you got a better shot. Yes.
I think it'd be swamped.
You need an afternoon game, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Looked it up after already typed. I can't remember combo until lead. There you go. 1,500 units of inventory. That would be a more valid number. Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, Orlando. Good evening, Paul.
The way I was looking at this when I first heard it, I had 2 responses. My first one was, this would not be the first businessman to inflate numbers.
No.
Right. And, we've already discussed that. So all of us could see that, and it makes sense, and, not surprising. But then I thought, how a new chain restaurant pops up in an area that's never been there before? It could be anything. It could be
go to them. How do you know?
It could be like a Texas Roadhouse or something, but it's never been in that area before. And when it first opens up, there's a 3-hour wait. There's not one space in the parking lot. And it's just absolutely bombed for the first month. 3rd month, parking lot's empty, and you walk right in and sit down.
What you're talking about right there is novelty. You're talking about the novelty of a friend. You know what the irony is of your point, though? You know what the irony is of your point? In the podcast episode that I showed there, the one on there, Jeff himself gave a story about when he ran, I think it was Ben and Jerry's or Baskin Robbins or some kind of an ice cream chain, and he had set up one of the ice cream
Robbins.
shops across. It was Baskin Robbins, sure. So they had set it up across from a campus. And the thing is, because of the proximity and location, but in the story, he explains that the very first month they had by far the most sales of the entire franchise, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that was the highest sales they ever did in that store for the entirety of the time they ran it. That first month. They never surpassed that month ever again. Now, the reason I say this is ironic is that he's the one telling this story, while at the same time talking about these numbers that I guess I'm supposed to be impressed by. But again, they mean nothing without context. That's why I say I'm not taking the angle. You can look at this in a couple different ways. You can say he is full of shit. He's just making up numbers. I can say he could be reporting legitimate numbers, but because you don't know what the numbers are, how we count it is very important, because with the right accountant, I can make the numbers dance and do whatever I want them to do. And I could still be telling the truth, but what kind of truth?
But maybe this is what he wants. Everybody talking about it. Everyone's talking about HQ. Maybe that's what he wants. And I have a real life experience for the what Eric was saying. When Krispy Kreme first came to Canada, I was up in the west end of Toronto. I live in the far east end. So we drove all the way there, waited in a 2.5-hour line. We got a free donut that was, the light was flashing. Mm-hmm. And we went through, we ate a few of them, and you get sick of eating that much sugar, and just went, that was worth it. And what happened to Krispy Kreme? It didn't take them long. They were out. Nobody was lining up after the first run there, because you can only eat so many donuts. It's not like I'm a cop or something. So,
chocolate sticks you could eat as many as forever.
Walnut Crunch, maybe. Yeah.
Does it count? Does it count though that a lot of your consumption is trying to absorb it through your skin, just as you douse yourself in them?
That's the mayo.
No, that's gross.
It is.
No, it's
good for your complexion.
Anyway, it could be great for your skin. So Paul here says
1,000 chocolate sticks one time, filled up the tub and jumped in. But that's my own business.
Is it though?
I'm gonna do some work on the computer on that one.
Paul says I gotta need Eric's analysis of the rest of Boston guy and Bill O'Brien. Hold that thought. Let me finish with a couple here. I just like that Tom has been struggling with this since you brought it up, Bobby. I've been enjoying it. I will see if I can swing by a store tomorrow. I'll let you know how many boxes I pick up. Please do, and make sure you verify how they're counting them.
And remember to go to the Wings place. Remember, Mike Hand talked about the Wings.
That's right, exactly. You did talk about the Wings place. That's right.
Whatever the name was.
will become the Kevin Moss of sports card shops. We love a Kevin Moss reference. I'm not sure if somebody else measured, but probably grand opening sale did things like best buy one get one, which could double inflate numbers. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of million little things to do. So look, I'm gonna encapsulate my thoughts on this in one point. I don't give a shit whether he's lying about the number or not. I just gave you a bunch of reasons why, even if the number is 100% legit, it still means nothing, because it's missing a lot of important content. The idea, so Bobby's point, but it gets people talking about it. I agree, but that doesn't mean I'm going to buy anything. So like at a certain point, forget about publicity. How about running an operation in a smart way? Running it in a smart way is get your fucking website activated, get your e-commerce shit going. Why isn't this already done?
I think he's working on it.
He shouldn't be working on it. He should have been ready basically in day one.
He's been a busy man. Give him a break. Selling 15 million boxes, 1,000, 100 million. I don't know.
But that's the point. So like we talk about this. Even if it works, even if everything works the way he envisions and dreams, the majority of the revenue is going to have to be online. It is not. I don't give a fuck if no one bought anything in the store. If you sold 15,000 boxes online, then we're talking, because that's where the money's going to come from.
Okay, so if you sold them online, are you selling them in Atlanta? Technically,
I don't think it matters. I think the key though, Bobby, is that
up on this Atlanta thing. Okay?
Yeah, he never will.
I can't. No. Oh no.
We just got to get the Atlanta borders to keep expanding. It is pretty bad, but we got to get the borders to keep expanding. But look, the point is this: I believe that if there's any expectation of having anything resembling success, I don't give it. Here's the analogy I'll use. One of my favorites from this live stream of live streams past. Pandemic time. Y'all remember, who have been around, how much crap I gave COMC when they were screwing up and doing all these things and having all these issues. And what were they talking about? They were not talking about the issues they were having. They were avoiding that. They were talking about the building you could see from space and the machine. Instead of, well, we've got this problem. Yes, we are trying to fix it. Yes, we've got a lot of internal. They eventually started saying that, but for a longest time, they were focusing. That we gave them a lot of airtime. It didn't help. so the point is that
because they're doing good now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Then I'll take credit for fixing it. The point is that that whole time they were trying to focus on like building you can see from space, the machine, and all this stuff. And that whole time it's like the people that were waiting for their stuff to ship, they're waiting for their orders to process and all, did not give a crap. They didn't care. They're like, dude. And so I'm going to bring this back over to this card shop. It could be the most beautiful, pristine, perfect card shopping creation. Here's the truth. Not just because Bobby Burrell's ringing endorsement. I'm not going to Atlanta. So it doesn't matter. It can be the most perfect place. And whatever. It can be the most perfect card shop in creation, history. I will not be there.
No.
So even if I'm ever going to buy anything from you and myself and everybody else who's never going to be there, which is the majority of us, the only way you're going to get any money from us is have your e-commerce going, your eBay store, your whatever. I don't care what it is, your Shopify store. You should have that ready to go because that's the only way you're going to make money. You have what I want. I will go there and buy it. I will hit the buy it now and boom, done. And I will have it shipped over. But you actually have to have a way for me to buy it because if I have to go to the store, fuck that.
I ain't going.
Like,
well, I think
don't waste my time.
Like, if you talk about places that you're going to go to Vegas. If you're Canadian, let's just say you're going to go to Vegas, probably go to New York. You probably go to Chicago. You might go to Florida, but Mike Ham's there, but whatever. I'm not the last place you say is Georgia or Atlanta. Honestly, who books a trip there? I just don't know. But Mike did say that, there was an international airport there.
It's the busiest airport in the United States.
And what does that have to do with Card HQ?
Hey, listen, when they build that on the side of the airport, you'll see. All right, Bob Boozle said the guy behind Market Movers.
Then I'm talking.
In all seriousness, if they could expand and have a satellite shop in the airport for all the layovers, because that's why Atlanta is so. I'm being serious, Bobby. You're laughing already. So Atlanta is the busiest airport in the country, from what I understand, and the number one reason is because the mostly the layovers. There's all this, you got to fly to Atlanta and then fly to here and all that. You put a card shop in there, and you have something for people to do, something to keep their kids busy, something that my plane doesn't go off for another 2 hours. I'm gonna go rip a box. I'm gonna go look around. You would make more money in the airport than you will in his current location.
I think the wing place would make more.
That too.
Way more. But I just want to note it for the record. I'm going to read a couple of these comments and get caught up here. But I want to note it for the record that I declared war on the Dutch, and Bobby Burrell has specifically targeted Atlanta. It's Atlanta, like specifically. I enjoy that is the hill he has decided to fight on. I'm enjoying this. Bob Boozle says the guys behind Market Movers came up with these numbers. I trust them more than a bank and accounting firm, as you should. Bob Jackson says selling 15 boxes is hard, or 15,000. True.
What is that number?
Yeah, closer to 3 miles in Google Maps, closer than I thought. Yeah. Kamikaze says love Jeff's old lady's money like it's going out of style. As long as his kids worship him, he could care less. Listen, We should all have such good luck. Buildings that can be seen from space. Great callback to like the first 7-8 episodes. True. Listen, if one of the companies wants to pay, if Whatnot wants to pay for my travel, we're in. But I'm on my own dime. Hell no. Jeff can cut me a check, and I'll think about it.
We could go for wings though.
Sure. It would have been super simple for them to have a Cards HQ eBay store and have one employer scale up 1 month right open. Yes, but look, I'm being serious. That was my point. I understand that you've got people that are literally putting all the cards in there, doing all the stuff they need to be doing to get the shop ready to go.
Oh yeah.
I don't really care.
Should be there. Already.
Yeah, you needed to have that stuff ready to go. That shouldn't be an afterthought. You shouldn't be rushing. You should have given yourself enough time. You should have been thinking far enough ahead to get enough people in there to be ready to go. You shouldn't be rushing until the last minute. Oh, but we'll get it again. Okay, let's
set a nice logo and everything. That would look great on eBay. And list your stuff there and hammer it out. Hire 50 people that hoisted those 150,000 boxes and put them on the computer. Get them listing stuff for sure.
Yep. So was Atlanta Airport last week? It's nuts. There you go. Bobby should probably stop talking about Atlanta. Carlisle. It's like, listen, Carlisle, I know he's warring with your people. I don't know what to tell you, man. Also, duty-free liquor shop at the airport. Leave room to get your carry-on. There you go. I used to drive through Atlanta to get to Florida after experiencing Atlanta traffic. I now drive through Alabama. There you go. Ripping boxes while your flight's delayed. That's true. That's where airports have bars. Facts. Almost getting caught up here. Black Box Hobby says, not sure if it's any politician's radar, but given the breaking is essentially gambling, it is gambling. Do you see any potential for government regulation? Zero. They don't care. We don't care. No one cares. We like gambling. Open a wing card shop. Call it Dirty Fingers. Look at you, Ham.
Headquarters.
I'll
Dirty
say
Finger
this.
headquarters.
As soon as the government finds a way to make money off of sports cards, they'll get involved. So
We've been saying.
Well, when it comes to retail, Eric, they do. It's called taxes.
taxes,
They're already charging you. It's the cash transactions in the card shows that they would like to get a piece of the pie.
But if they figured it out, if they can figure out a way to get more money out of us in this hobby, they will get involved.
Yeah, exactly. When there's money to be made,
they have no interest.
I agree.
What's the quote on that post about me? What was that? You were laughing and it went by. I couldn't see it.
The Burrell Building.
I don't. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear what it said.
Bob Jackson says it's the Burrell Building.
Okay.
Bob also says, would you steal a 52 Mickey Mantle from an airport hobby shop and hop on a plane headed to Thailand, never to be seen again? So if there was a 52 Mantle in an airport hobby shop, I would assume it's only printed on one side.
I'd hop to Japan.
No. I assume it would only be printed on one side. I assume it would be as legitimate as Bougie Eric's Booby or Rookie.
What?
Oh,
are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you saying this is fake?
Yes, I am.
No, bite your tongue. This is as real as real gets.
I shall do no such thing.
A PSA 10 plus.
Mm-hmm.
That might be an 11.
Who's that clear holder by? By Menon.
Look at you. Bob Jackson says, hail Ziggy Paul for the Go-To-Goats. Facts, sir. That is an old school throwback to the very early days.
There we go. Yeah.
Good old Ziggy Paul for the Go-To-Goats.
We grew out over that. So.
And listen, people don't understand. The reoccurring jokes are still there, but we have at a certain point we have to give it a break. We have to lay back. Ziggy Paul will arrive when he needs to. He'll come back when he needs to come back.
Yep.
Culture Collision happens again in September. Let's all meet up for some wings. There you go, Bobby. You got a reason now to go there. Justin says, evening, everybody. Like this guy has a sports car radio called Geospace Crickets HQ. Most of the time, the card shop should be Crickets. Even if the card shop was running perfectly, it should be Crickets most of the time. Like most people don't need to go to the card shop. But turn on the website.
Legends was never Crickets. I don't think I ever went
there. That is true, but it wasn't a very touristy area, Bobby. Like it was very easy for people to be, even foot traffic walking by. Like it was very easy.
Yeah.
It was right in the corner. It was a perfect spot.
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. And that place was always busy. Even when I went in early, it didn't matter. There was still a lineup to get in back in that time period, to get into store for a regular working time, right? Just crazy.
Yep. The land track's so bad, it's an hour drive to itself. There you go. If we get more money out of everything when we go cashless, that is true. Yeah, it'll be easier to monitor. Nice vintage slab mag. There you go. OG slab mag, Eric. Does big hat make the big holders? Maybe you should. How can we miss you if you don't go away for a while? That's true. Ziggy Puffy needed to take a breather. It was going to happen. G.O.A.T wants to sell his 100 Eric autograph cards. Will only cost Eric $3,500. I like it. Good evening, Spurs Card 21. Cards and cuticles. Girls get their nails done. Guys buy cards and soak them in nail polish. Listen,
there was brilliant.
There is plenty of space. Look, again, 14. Look, so real quick. Let me reiterate one thing again. You can open
a mall in there.
You could do a lot of things. Listen, you wait and see. Once he opens up a Dunks in there and he starts selling chocolate sticks out of there, Eric will live there. He will live. He will be the Phantom of the Opera, except he'll just be hanging around in the rafters. He'll just show up when the chocolate sticks are being finished. They'll roll in and suddenly they disappear, and we wonder why.
I will not apologize for my love of chocolate sticks. Clearly. I shall not.
But the thing is this. It goes back to what I was saying. The point that I was making with that ComC thing, in addition to a good callback, a classic callback, my point was that they were focused. They were trying to throw at everybody's face all this other stuff that didn't matter. With this store, Jeff is trying to talk it up, do all this thing. 14,000 square feet. There's a studio built into it and all that. None of that matters for most people who would potentially be your consumers. You're going to have your folks that are going to be like hero worshiping, or your influencers that come in, you show them a good time, and all of a sudden they love you and everything. That's cool. That's normal. The truth is, it's still a card shop. So if you want to sell cards, then I'm going to need you to make cards available in all the avenues where people are going to want to buy cards. A lot of people are not going to go to your store. I don't care how nice it is.
How many unique items do you think he has there? Honestly, like really, like what can you get there that you can't get anywhere else is the question. That's where you're.
There is nothing. He has not reinvented the wheel. All he's done is duct tape a bunch of concepts together in one space. And he goes, well, the combination of these things, yes, that you threw a bunch of ingredients into a pot. I understand that, but the ingredients are all known. All these ingredients have been used in the past, every single one of them in different combinations, but you haven't reinvented the wheel yet. Your little cart is fancy and all, but you haven't turned it on yet. So we haven't seen it. So at the moment, it's not available.
And after we see it, it'll be like, okay.
Yeah, it's a cart with cameras.
Then it's
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, as I am the bastion of positivity for 2024, I would love to see this thing work and stick around for several years, and I hope he does well with it.
Me too. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, how would it's not bad for our hobby. It's not bad for us. It's great
for the content. It is tremendous.
Well, that too. Well,
yes.
That's the thing. See, the content, whether it's successful,
praise the content gods. Praise.
We'll have content. But
we're working it right now, Eric.
I hope it all works out, and I'm looking forward to when it's fully up and when this Death Star is fully operational.
So just to explain kind of the discussion that we were having in the Discord piece. The discussion was kind of a back and forth, having a little bit of fun with it. My thing wasn't that I'm not in the camp of needing to slag this store. I don't care whether it succeeds or not. For the content, it's good. I like that it's around, and I like that it creates fodder. But I also don't have any reason to praise Jeff for anything. He has done nothing that impresses me here. Nothing. There is nothing that has happened so far that you couldn't do if you just have money to waste. If you have enough money to burn, you could replicate everything he just did. He hasn't done anything new yet. And that's the problem. He's talking up revolution. And I know Will's here is being sarcastic a little bit, but revolutionize the retail shopping experience. Watch and learn. Oh, I will watch. But don't worry, right now there's nothing to learn. The only thing is there's nothing to learn. It's not going to happen. I very much doubt that Jeff understands how revolutions work. You actually have to show something. Like at the moment, it's a card shop. You're running a very big. You took a card shop and you supersized it. That's all you did. Yeah, which isn't revolutionary, but give it a go. Let's see what happens. Again, turn on the fucking website, get your eBay store going, get on with it. That's my suggestion to you. Get on.
Done that with a smaller store, so
very much so, and it would have cut down on overhead. It would have actually been a smarter business model. Heaven forbid, what an idea!
But he's employing people.
There you go. The Georgia economy is benefiting. Michael Ham says also the hotel we stayed at, either hotels will drive you to card shop for free, as their shuttles will drive you within 5 miles in any direction. Very common, a lot of hotels in. There you go, Ham. Thank you for the local knowledge.
7,000 miles to.
I just say again that I think he needs to expand and not just have cards. He needs to expand
comics,
sports memorabilia,
memorabilia.
Do you think you should put DVDs in display cases and mail them to people via website? That could be revolutionary.
I think Eric's right with memorabilia. I think, having Babe Ruth's bat there, having some other, key pieces to attract people to go there, that won't drive everybody there unless they have a huge supply of everything like that. But I don't think cards alone is going to really.
Oh, here we go. Average Joe card collector asking the serious question. Hold on. I got to think about this one for a moment. Serious question.
Does he not see people on the screen?
You're not a person, Eric. You're not a person. Oh. Serious question. Would you rather go to the National or Cards HQ? The National or Cards HQ? Now, we're in this hypothetical scenario. We're going to pretend that I'm not perma banned from the National. We're going to pretend that I haven't been banned permanently by me. But in this scenario, we're thinking about these two. I have my answer. I have considered it for a moment here. I have my response. So please, I would love to hear from the Burrell or Bougie Eric first.
Cards HQ.
Eric?
And only because there's wings next door.
And your love of Atlanta. And your love of Atlanta, which is noted.
My love of Hotlanta.
Yes. Eric, which one?
I think, and I never want to go to either. But
You might only have a chance to get to one soon.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think
Like the man is tortured right now. Like I had my answer. I took a minute. I thought of my answer. I know what the answer is. For me,
I am more curious. I am more out of curiosity. I'm more curious about Cards HQ. I don't ever want to go to the National.
Wow, that's two. That is two for Cards HQ.
I never ever want to go to the National ever, unless it comes to Boston, and then I'll go.
So listen. I got to be completely honest with you. I was surprised, given all the hemming and hawing, that it's ended up being this way.
Yes.
I'm gonna make it 3 for 3.
Yes.
But it didn't take me that long. I didn't hem and haw, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. 2 reasons. Number 1, content, because the content would be there. But number 2,
beautiful.
I would literally go there. I would visit one time for one day and get the fuck out.
And it's done and over with for your life.
Zero issue. I have zero reason to ever attend a National ever. Fuck the National.
Yeah.
And that is how I will get disqualified from the YouTube Sport Hall of Fame too. I got a twofer. I can avoid the National and the bullshit Hall of Fame. Woo!
Hey, but you're almost a shoe-in, so you gotta. Hey,
I can get disqualified, Bobby. I have faith.
Oh, okay.
But my actual reason for Cards HQ is that I given that it's a card shop. It is just a card shop. I can get my content. I'll visit in. I'll check out the infamous Wings place. Take a million pictures, selfies with Bobby, just so that how about the Wings place, Bobby? We're here, and then I can be on my way. I'm out of here
to never return again, sir.
Yeah, never return again. Now, so you can negotiate, which is fair. I think that's fair. Jeff has impressed me. He married up. Special skill. Hey, man, work it out. Gufek says Cleveland or Atlanta. I've been to Cleveland. If you go near the stadium, it's fine. The rest of it's shitty. I agree with that. Good evening, Dom. That was wow in the initial to the Burrell's response. Fanatics and Liz can take everything that works for them and do whatever they want. Lots of key locations. That's true. You really can. The great thing is that Jeff is at both. You can't lose. True. I'm Average Joe Card Collector says, I muted when Eric started talking. Someone let me know when he's done. I do that a lot. The National is a lot of fun. We believe you, him. Okay, Carlos, let's make a bet. If you get into YouTube Sports Card next year, you have to attend the National for more than one day. Let's nod and say we did.
Not worth it. Don't take that bet.
The National.
Look. Here's the problem with this. What do I win? This is a bet where I literally win nothing.
You lose both. It's
I get something I don't want, and then I get to go to a place I don't want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like this is a double lose for me, Ham. What do I get out of it?
Most of the National is a social thing, more than anything else. That's what the expo is. It's not like I go there to buy a lot of stuff because there isn't a lot of vintage guys around. Not a lot of stuff. There's so many platforms to sell it on. Like whatnot, Jeff. Like eBay,
look,
Jeff.
As far as the National is concerned, the biggest issue the National has is that because it's become so big and so commercialized in the way they've done it.
It's commercialized. You're right.
Because they've done it this way, it loses almost everything that I would possibly want that would be of any value to me. I would be better served financially in terms of efficiency, in terms of everything else, picking a couple of regional shows and dispersing my time and funds that way. I could go to the Strongsville show and check out some vintage. There's some vintage there. I could go to a Dallas show just for the hell of it because I could be down in Broncos 79 territory, meet the hockey oracle himself. There you go. Easy. And then I pick maybe one more, like the Burbank card show out west could be a good excuse to head out west and check that out. And boom, I've hit 3 major shows. And over here, they do the Hofstra show, the old East Coast National. If you pick the right one, because there's 2 locations. If you pick the right location, it's the more old school
mostly
one. You get a little bit of a mix. Yeah. You get a nice mix. And that one is not as far for me. It's pretty close, relatively speaking. So right there, I could hit 4 regional shows and then have my expo and then my CSC show in the middle just to eat up a little bit of time in between just for hell of it and see all the cosplayers.
Well, if you look at the Toronto Sports Card Expo and you look at it 10 years ago, even 15 or 20, the change is like night and day. Today, like back then, like it's amazing stuff because people used to, dealers we didn't have eBay so much and all these other shows going on so much. The stuff that would come there, you could run out of money before you ran out of, things to buy. So, but now it's definitely commercialized a lot more. We have a lot more signing guests, and it's getting to be very much of a good social networking place, and that's the way the hobby is right now. It's more of a social thing than it is just that personal collector going around marking off another Medano or something like that. It's really certainly changed. So the hobby has changed in that direction. Now I say for Jeff's store is very much the same. I want to be there once. If I lived in the land, I'd probably go more often, but I probably wouldn't because I collect vintage anyways. But just saying, if I was a regular collector, it would be fine. But really, am I going to go there?
You know what the analogy I would use is? You know what the analogy I would use is for a lot of it in a lot of ways now? Mm-hmm. I'll read Bob Boozle's comment. I'll get caught up here on a couple of them. I think when I look at the National the way it is at this point, now there are ways you can mitigate it. So I understand the comp isn't going to work for everybody completely. But it's a lot closer to being like what the Super Bowl is now. It's very expensive. And at the end of the day, you're sitting there you're presumably trying to watch a football game. The concept's the same, but what they've done is they've just added all this extra superfluous stuff to it to make it a spectacle, to make it into this big, big thing, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what if I just want to watch a football game? Then maybe that isn't my best choice. That is not my best way of getting what I want out of this experience. It's the same reason why I'll bring it back over here to Canada. I've watched NHL games. I've watched games at almost every level of hockey there is. The American Hockey League and the CHL are more fun to sit in the stands and watch a game than an NHL game. Why? It's not because the players are the best. They're very good. A lot of them are quite excellent, and the game can be still a lot of fun to watch. But it's a better experience. The seat pricing is more reasonable. You can get your food. You can sit down, enjoy, have a good time, and watch the game. You're still watching the game. Bringing it over to the card show example here, the National is the biggest show. No doubt, no question. I understand. But there's a lot of tremendous regional shows where you can get a lot of what you're looking for in a place. Oh, but you can hang out with people. Well, there are people throughout the country that you can meet up with at these regionals. It'll probably be easier to meet up with those people at these regional shows where the show floor isn't so ginormous that you have to track people down. It'd actually be probably easier to meet up with folks because you got less folks to deal with in the first place.
My example would be the All-Star game. It would be very similar to that.
Sure.
So
I think that's fair.
Because if they don't play, like, did you see the goals? It was just like, why do we even have it? Like, honestly, it's just.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't miss much. It's not like you're going to see anybody try hard, regardless.
Yeah. Bob Boozle here says, according to other content creators, the National is about sharing friendship bracelets and hugging your blows. The problem is I'm not a hugger.
There you go.
So I'm out. I'm double out. We want you at the National. I'll send the bro.
Yep. Which one?
Found a lot of unique. What's that?
Chicago or Ohio?
You pick your choice. We'll send you as the emissary. We'll send you as the official emissary. Whatever works for you better.
Okay.
I like my not national coverage. It's unique in the space.
You're the only one that could go to a national and find stuff that you collect.
True enough, right?
Guaranteed
that would work.
With the categories I have, yes, good.
To find stuff that you collect. Bobby and I would go and be like, where's all the vintage hockey stuff? Where's the knickknacks? Where's the cards?
There is some there. Like Dave goes and he, he takes pictures. Bobby, what do you think about this? Every show for the last, I don't know how many. And I go, how much is it? And I go, that's 3 times the value. So what are they doing? Do they want to sell stuff? Like you figure with hockey, they wouldn't know and they would just kind of throw it out there and get rid of it. No. Bobbleheads, 3 times the value. It's like $1,800. It's like, okay, it's a $700 one. What do you want? You can't buy. Like, who would buy that? Like, are you fishing there? I guess.
I think though, to your point, to Eric's point though, it should tell you something that out of the 3 of us, to your point, I would have the easy look. I can find havres. I would have no problem finding them. Right. I could probably find some banana. I could probably find some wrestling cards. Like, there's enough things that I collect that I could find stuff there.
And you like baseball.
Yeah, exactly. I could find things. It would not be an issue of being impossible. Oh, I can't find anything that would fit in my collection. No, I could totally find things. But it's still a pain in the ass and I don't want to go. That's kind of a problem.
There's that.
Yeah. I found a lot of unique items in that.
We all joke, but I'm not a wealthy man. I have limited funds. And if I am going to spend, put $5,000 aside for a trip. Yeah. For a trip and to buy cards and whatnot. I'm going to Toronto where every single table has something I want.
Almost.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I am not going to take that. I don't have an additional $5,000, and I'm sure the hell not skipping the expo. So I don't have an additional $5,000 to go to Cleveland. And the thing is, it probably wouldn't even cost $5,000 because I'll go there and I won't buy anything. So I wasted gas. I wasted hotel. I wasted food. Because I came home with nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Not even a chocolate stick.
Not even.
Dang. Stu says, I found a lot of unique items at the National. Stuff that doesn't show up online or my local shows. Some great deals too. Hey, nothing wrong with that. If you find it, go for it. How many big shows have a bunch of museum booths though?
Yes.
That's a good point.
That is the key.
Philly Mall Show, and hopefully the legendary wheel guy is there. I know there was a response on the wheel guy thing. I'm getting to it. So we're about 6 minutes behind, so we're almost there. Philly show is good. That was kind of what I was saying though when I was talking about regional shows. I could attend a Philly show. Like the point is, I could make a show schedule for myself if I plan ahead of time. I could attend a couple of these shows and rotate, have like a spot that rotates around. One year do the Philly show, another year do this other one, blah, blah, blah. Chantilly is another one that, where Bobbles is. So like there's opportunities, but remember what I said a moment ago, like out where Bobbles is? The point is I can meet up with these people closer to their backyard, closer to the local show. They can show me some of the happenings around there, be able to give me some guidance there. And it's a hell of a lot easier to meet up at a show that's a lot more reasonably sized. We can go meet up for dinner. We can go have lunch, whatever. So all that hangout time that you're talking about, it's easier at a show that isn't developed that's to be so ginormous.
I can't find anybody. Yeah.
Correct.
Where are you? I don't know.
Serious Ty here, calling everyone. That is about hugging your bros. First I thought it was about buying cars. It's really about saying hi to your buddies. There you go, Paul. Look at you. I agree 100%. AHL Binghamton Senators games are way better than MSG Rangers games. Fair. With the National leveraging apps with dealer inventories ahead of time, what's the point? You can arrange other deals anywhere. True. Way too many deals were overpriced at the last National. Major turnoff. Fair.
Yeah.
If I'm spending $5,000 on the trip, I'm coming back from Turkey with a glorious head of hair. Do your thing, Bob. Do your thing.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Not even a mail packet. True. Eric would go bankrupt and not even have a mail packet to show for it. U.S. Sports says, I don't think I would go to the National versus any other card show because I'm not a big fan of people when I'm at a show. I mostly just want to dig through cards. Fair. That's fair. I'm going to card shows and buying nothing. I do that. Yes, you do. Dealer's price and willingness to deal in Chicago is right. Night and day better than Atlantic City. Nice. National's like a lap dance. I like this is the Paul analogy we're going with here. It's fun for exactly one time. Now I'll go again with Chicago because driving distance works, but I'm not going to pay for the plane and hotel for it. All right, I get you. $5,000 a lot to spend going to National, about $4,500 more than I spent on travel, food, and hotel. Yeah, I did the rough math. I did the napkin math. The hotel alone would have cost me. So I had a reservation set up.
Is this the whole National or just a couple days?
So that was the last year's. It was last year's.
But how
and
long?
I had the hotel booked in advance, so I was able to get a decent price in the hotel pre-booked. It was a cancelable reservation, obviously, but the point is, it would have been about $2,000. So $2,000 for the hotel. Yes. That's before I pay for airfare, before I pay for a bite to eat, before heaven forbid I buy a card. Yeah. So $4,000 or $5,000 is probably what I'd be looking for.
But the card you could buy with the money you saved, there's a nice one-on-one. One of the best one-on-ones.
I can pretty much get any for less than $5,000. I could probably get a couple one-on-ones.
Yeah, there you go.
Stay home. They would deliver it to me in a velvet bag.
When you just add up the gas money and the money for tolls, this has been counted multiple times. There are 25 tolls between my house and getting to
the end of the driveway,
the expo. Okay. So I have to pay 25 tolls to go up and 25 tolls to go back. I got to pay for all that gas going up and all that gas going back.
So how much is a toll then?
You're talking, it depends. Some tolls are 25 cents, other tolls are $5.
Is that where they get the name Toll House Cookies?
So Eric, is this? Did you take into account as you were driving away that these tolls suddenly got disassembled and the guys just ran away going, idiot?
Yeah. I mean, it's like $25 to go over the Friendship Bridge there, whatever the hell bridge it is, to get into Canada.
Friendship
Rainbow Bridge, whatever.
Maybe you do need to go to the National. You could drive over on the Friendship Bridge.
No, I mean it's like 25.
The Friendship Bridge is where you need it to be.
Where you make all your friends.
To get over that bridge is you have to pay like $30.
There's no fucking Friendship Bridge. Woo!
Is he sneaking over with the immigrants there?
Look, Bobby, as far as I can tell, the man is high on chocolate sticks right now. Like I'm a little worried about him. He's going to think Brock Purdy is on his 38th Super Bowl by now.
And he had to pay that also.
Mm-hmm.
Friendship Bridge. Hello, I'm Eric. I'm coming into your country.
I am here in the spirit of friendship. And they're like, you lying son of a bitch. We don't believe you.
Taxi.
Split the room price and get Paul to sleep on the floor. Pass. I pay extra not to split the room. I want a room for myself.
No. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Here's the thing. At Expo, I could have arranged for that because I know enough people to do it. No. I want the room myself. I want my space. I go in there. I relax.
We're friends, and it stops there.
Yes. Leave me be.
You may end up sleeping in a room with somebody who has sleep apnea and is slowly dying in front of you for 4 days.
And someone else could be like there with the camera going like, the kind of individual that would throw his shoes into a washer.
Well, Dave has that. He's got the machine and everything. So I did stay over the one night there. And it's like,
And also, you got to remember, he's talking about Paul. So Paul like studies serial killers, and I don't sleep. And that's doubly so if you're there in a room with someone who studies serial killers. Because at that point, it's like, okay, look, we should be trading notes. But if we're going to do this, then we're basically going to stare at each other. And one of us is going to die before this show's over.
Wow.
And I suspect that Paul will have to sleep sometime. I don't necessarily have to.
You know how we catch a serial killer and the neighbors are all like, we never would have guessed that. We never saw that coming. He was such
Paul is literally like the first person you'd guess. You'd guess even if he wasn't in the state.
When Paul gets caught, no one's going to say that about him.
No one's going to say that.
No.
Well, I might say, I just assume, and go, that few, I assumed he would have killed more.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. Did you find all of them? Are you sure you counted? Did you count right?
You haven't found them all.
No. I think you're underplaying his skills.
Yeah.
I think you're underplaying. Babuzo says, Carlos, you're not thinking of all the friendship bracelets you'll bring home. I did think about them. And it changed my mind, not one iota. But thank you, Bob.
If anything, a deterrent.
Yeah, like between bro hugs and friendship bracelets and the friendship bridge, I'm fucking out. I'm way out on all this. Yeah. It's like my tolls were 29 total to and from Chicago. There you go. It's like, I don't know what kind of lap dances Paul is getting, but I enjoy every one of them. There you go. I suspected when Paul's analogy came into play, we would get some responses. Those rookie numbers. That's right. There's a good chance I drove past John Wayne Gacy's house in the drive-in. I bet you did, Paul. I bet you did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciated the opportunity to take the Cards HQ angle and somehow end up slandering the National again. Like we're months away.
But it was in comparison to Cards HQ. So we actually
Cards HQ is look, I'll be the one to say it. Cards HQ is at least 4 times better than the National. Because I could literally just go there once, look around, going, all right, fuck this, see you later. And then I'm gone.
No, easy. Wing Place next door.
Yeah, Wing Place, exactly. Do other things, yeah. Maybe I'd go to the Braves game. Maybe
there
and then you go to the international airport for no reason.
I can fly into Atlanta, rent a car, go check this place out. When I'm done, go back to the airport, drop the car off, get on a plane, come back to Boston. Get the whole thing done in a day. I don't want to spend 5 days in Cleveland.
Yeah, what's in Cleveland? Nothing. The Barons used to be there.
That shitty ass Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, it's not even rock and roll.
Parton in.
You could sit there and argue with him about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That'd be amazing. You could sit there and fight Drew Carey.
I love me some Dolly Parton, okay?
You could fight Drew Carey.
But she is not a rock and roll artist and should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Working 9 to 5 might crest the edge of.
Are you drunk right now?
Eric,
yeah.
I remind you that you're part of the Kiss Army. They wear more makeup than she does.
Oh, true.
And you want to call them rock and roll?
That is
What are you talking about?
Music. There is rock and roll that belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
There's the Country Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and that's where she should
And
be.
Kiss is not in there.
No. And if what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I want Kiss at the Grand Ole Opry and getting into the Country Music Hall of
Well,
Fame.
listen, I want Kiss at the Grand Ole Opry too. I think the entertainment value would be off the charts. I think it'd be
Now
tremendous.
that's a place I would go for a card show.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, it's nice.
I
Paul
totally
says the sleeping on the floor was totally worth it. I traded chauffeur service to both concerts and Freed's Hotel. Live the dream, Paul. Live the dream. I heard the National sold 1,501 boxes of cards. Oh,
Second place, Wilson.
wow. He's going to keep
Right.
working on it. My cash, my car. I can think of 2 big reasons Dolly Parton should go in. Psh, see, Bob Boozle's got you there. Wait until the National is in Atlanta. You can for one day walk around and be done. That was my 1999 Atlanta National experience, except for the 1939 Green Bay Packers 12-inch players matchbook. Nice, Duke. Nice. That'd be kind of funny. That would be a good twofer. The National and Cars HQ. There you go.
Yes.
I don't think they're going back to Atlanta ever. I think that one time was enough. What's that?
I still come home with nothing.
I'm sure Cards HQ will have like a card.
A card.
Yeah.
Like that digital monster going down the thing. He's going to pick one.
Look, I would basically I would to get the most out of my Cards HQ experience. I'm not, there's a good chance I'm not going to be there for a very long time if I'm ever there before it closes. But if I was going to plan some content, I would literally just screw around with the staff for a while. I'd be like, all right, send the cards to the end. Do you guys have multiple of the cards? Yeah. We could race them.
Yes.
Can we turn on the feeds and race them? Guys, it's like, what do we do? Carlos, why are you taping? It's like, why are you taping crosses to them? I'm going to show Bougier what fucking cyclocross should have been.
That's right.
And we're going to do it live.
I want to see that electronic puppy monkey baby thing go down the thing and pull a card out. Then I'll be happy.
Amazing. So I think we'll have joust races with the carts, Eric. Look, I've already improved Cards HQ by like 1,800%.
I'm in.
You might knock
Done.
over one of the 15,000 boxes.
Whatever.
It's
We'll
true.
live the dream.
That's the finish line.
Yep. Content creators are beginning to brainstorm their own promise on how to prepare for the National. True. Remember, begin. Number 1, wear comfortable shoes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Praise the shoes god.
Facts. Bobby will go where there is dancing ladies. So the National Las Vegas. Listen, Las Vegas is the key. Look, guys,
And I'm
I
not
wasn't
going for the
joking.
ladies.
I wasn't joking about this. I've said it a million times. It won't be this year because I've got things I need to do. But I swear to God, if the opportunity ever comes down the pipeline, I will be happy to do live coverage at the Not National from Las Vegas. The dream will live. The dream will live one day. It won't be this year, unfortunately. Long con or not. But consider this a long con if I execute it in the next couple of years.
And
I'm warning y'all in advance.
I might just be there with you.
Yeah. It's like, what happened? You're doing the live stream during the National? Absolutely. Wait, are you at Mandalay Bay?
Mhm.
Caesar's Palace at the Wynn at the Encore? It's like, yeah. Why on earth? Why would we go to the National like a peasants?
Put it all on black and you're good.
I was
Done.
at the Best Western, I think, up in Toronto.
The West.
Because all your money goes to the noble place.
You have to understand, Eric, you're running with 30% to the good. So all your hotels are basically paid for. It's almost like we're paying you to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? That kind of
I never want to hear one complaint about you from you ever again.
Okay.
You've been told officially by the borough.
Abuzo says, show us how to hitchhike home after blowing all your money. Live the dream, my friend. Live the dream. Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Good evening. I was going to premiere my high heel look at the National. Are you telling me that's a bad idea? No, I think it's a tremendous idea. Take pictures. It'll go viral on social media. Live the dream. Fanatics will have a permanent residency at Caesars Casino in the next 5 years with tables dedicated to bringing boxes. I love it.
Wouldn't that be
I
great?
love it
I'd be
already.
there. I'm there.
Love it already.
Yep. I'm gonna fly in like Eric does, and then fly out.
That's right.
On the Friendship Bridge.
Goes up.
Friendship
the plane
Bridge.
flies, and the plane goes down.
I was gonna say, like, it's waving up and down. It's doing a wave, or what are you doing? Yeah. So Dustin says Bobby nailed it. It happens. He's in the garage of knowledge, after all. But
I don't know what I nailed, but yeah,
something. You nailed something.
Something.
That's the important part. The key though is that when and where does the Friendship Bridge kick into this?
I don't know.
That's the important part. That's the part I care about.
I don't know.
I'm an hour behind. See, it's good to know that his following of the chat is actually on par with his viewing of the live stream. He's probably distracted trying to keep up with his own chat from his own live stream, so that could be a problem. Demo Louise need a gender swap reboot. Listen, there's always a chance, man. There's always a chance. Dozens an hour behind chat, no way. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Consistency. You have to applaud the man's consistency. If nothing else, he is consistent. You have that going on. All right, so we made some pretty good hay out of that Q/national slander topic. That's always
111 minutes. Or 1 hour.
So let me ask you all a question. We'll touch on it briefly, and we can always come back to it later. Curious, chat. Any thoughts? Y'all got predictions on Super Bowl? I know we talked a little bit about it the other day, but now that we got about 50 of you, so there's a good chance if a couple of you want to. Any predictions? Any thoughts? Who you thinking? We started off at the beginning with the Swifties. You got to go the Kansas City Swifties. So that was at the very beginning, first comment. So we had that going for us.
Either way, the Wings are going to win.
True. Dufek says Taylor Swift for the win. Fair. 3-0 Chiefs. I like it. The man is going with the under.
I'll go with
the Chiefs to win. I want the Chiefs to win, so it creates social media chaos. Now you're thinking, Bob Boozle. You're thinking.
That's what
Eric made the critical error in one of the podcast episodes, pointing out the Taylor Swift angle, which immediately made me switch my pick to Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
At that point, I was like, "Oh well, you're right. You know what? Since you invoke that, this is what we need."
Yeah.
Yes, this is what needs to happen. Don't lie to the people. This is what needs to happen right now. JW says 27-24 Chiefs. Yes, they showed Taylor during the national anthem. All right, he's got it a 3-point game. That's interesting. I like it. Might be a good chance for Mahomes to win. If Kelsey and Andy Reid both retire, 34-31 Chiefs. So another 3-point game. All right. As the Swifties say, yes. Taylor Swift to catch the winning TD pass. There's gambling tips from Sports Card Dad. I'm going to need some really tremendous odds. I'm going to need some tremendous odds on that. Tremendous.
Well, I still think Brock Purdy's going to win his 37th Super Bowl.
But you did pick Kansas City, so are you changing your pick?
No, no.
So your plan is to help Brock Purdy win by picking Kansas City and jinxing them.
Exactly, because I'm rooting for San Fran.
Now, does it work if we know that you're jinxing Kansas City to try to help Brock Purdy?
I don't know what any of my picks work, how they work anymore, because they all work poorly.
They do. That is true. The Pro Line tie, classic. That is true. That is classic. So yeah, I don't know. I keep waffling. I got to be honest. I haven't made my wager. I've made my bet because I've got my my app that I can click in. I'm looking at some of the prop bets. Is what I'm curious about. I haven't made up my mind. I was kind of waiting for the early copy of the script. Is what I wanted, Eric. I was hoping my copy of the script would have arrived by now because now it's like, guys, it's been 11th hour. Like,
an owner of an NFL franchise.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like, hey guys, when are you, do we need to get on a Zoom call? Can I, can you give me a little heads up on what I need to know here?
Owners were all in on it. So
yeah. 31-27 San Francisco. All right. So Jeff's got San Fran. All right. So we got a couple of KC picks for the Taylor Swift angle, and we got a San Fran pick. That's fair. I'm curious. I'm going to be very curious. So, okay, let me twist it back into a little sports card angle for us. We touched on it a couple of times. You got two different narratives you want to play here. You got, can San Francisco win? Can Brock Purdy have a worthy performance? Because normally, if the team does well and he can do enough, the quarterback will usually be favored for MVP. A Super Bowl MVP performance would be tremendous for your buddy, the Purdy Party. That would be huge for him. Mahomes, though, narrative-wise, this would be his third Super Bowl victory. Fourth appearance, third victory, 6 AFC Championship appearances. That's the beginning of a top-level resume. Like, this is, justifying a lot of the hype that has been introduced into a lot of his cards. In some ways, he almost needs it. I think his cards will still go down a little bit post-Super Bowl no matter what, but it helps solidify. Like, it solidifies a lot of the undercurrent momentum in his cards. And if, Kelsey retires, Andy Reid retires, no guarantees that they will be able to retool and come back right away. But this could be a big moment for him to really solidify. 3 Super Bowls, Eric, puts him into very elite company.
Oh, absolutely.
It puts him into a really tremendous position, especially at the age he's at and all the other components and the yards and the touchdowns and all the rest of it, and some MVPs to tack on. There's some intrigue there from the card angle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jason Kelsey still allowed to take his shirt off in front of Taylor Swift?
I hope not.
As far as we know. As far as we know.
God, I hope not.
Prisoners of the moment will crown Pat GOAT. Well, he's got a lot of things on his resume that are very good. I'll say, based on look, if he wins the 3rd Super Bowl, he will actually be off to a better start than Brady, because he's got more yards, more touchdowns, 3 Super Bowls. Brady lost 2 Super Bowls in the middle period there, if you remember the two New York Giants losses. So he was 3-2 at one point. This would make Mahomes 3-1. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And 6 AFC championships is pretty good.
His loss is, you talking about this whole GOAT thing again. His loss, it was to Tom Brady.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's first two losses were to Eli Manning, and his 3rd loss was to a backup quarterback.
And but you're trying to go have the GOAT discussion. You can't say
you lost to Eli Manning twice. That's like -5 Super Bowls.
You can't say he's the GOAT
-5
if Brady beat him in his only loss. But I just keep going to Tom Brady was the starting quarterback for 10 Super Bowls. That may never, ever, ever happen again. Even if you lose 10. In my lifetime, I cannot imagine seeing someone be the starting quarterback for 10 Super Bowls. I'm sorry. He is the GOAT. I know him from New England, blah, blah, blah.
So biased.
Super Bowls. 10 Super Bowls. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Think how hard is it for a franchise? There are some franchises that still have not been to a Super Bowl.
I know the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions. You stop picking up the Detroit Lions, Eric. You've done enough. You've done enough.
Okay,
you've done enough.
This guy has won 7 and been to 10. It's unheard of.
And what's even more crazy is he still sucks. So Bob Ozel says we're going to have a LeBron longevity, MJ highest prime argument in football. That's probably true. That's probably a fair argument. This Chiefs team is basically more defined by its defense. Yeah. But that's a testament to what you're looking for. That's what I'd be curious about. I think when the team isn't the best and you still find a way, I think that's commendable. That makes it a compelling thing. Again, the better talented team is San Francisco. The Mahomes has performed well, but this team is not the best version of that Kansas City team that we've seen. But they still managed to get there. And we talked about the team they beat along the way. Like I said, Buffalo, this probably should have been their opportunity. It was a good chance for them to finally get over the hump. But until they figure it out, if they ever do, Kansas City's hanging in there. But again, no guarantees they'll be back next year. So for them, it's an opportunity. Mahomes is getting up there, though. The Ravens team was legit, and he just smacked them in the mouth in the first quarter, and they never recovered. Yeah. See here, Mahomes had no O-line that Super Bowl. Don't forget Tampa. Yep. Mahomes already locked for Hall of Fame. I think at this point, with what he's got,
sure.
He's there. Yeah. I think, like I said, right now, look, let me explain it a different way. A 3rd Super Bowl would solidify him as this generation's guy, because all the other guys are already like 2-3 Super Bowls behind minimum. So it's very difficult to try to catch up if you're already behind right now at the stage for the guys that are his contemporaries, right around the same age as him. For the guys that are older, Peyton's gone, Brady's gone, all these guys are gone. Okay. And almost everybody else is like, even like a Rodgers, as many jokes they make about the darkness and the whole thing. Like, honestly, he comes back next year. What do you think of the odds he wins anything with the Jets? Honestly. So he's got a Super Bowl. That's good. He will be a Hall of Famer. He's got that. He's got 4 MVPs. But Mahomes still has time on his side. He can potentially still put up a couple more MVP type seasons, which would put him in there. But again, 3 Super Bowls is a big thing. 3 Super Bowls puts him in elite company. And with the rest of the components, Hall of Fame, I think he's good. The question is, when we get into the top tier guys, it's splitting hairs. It's the little things that put one guy slightly over the other, depending on how you want to view it. So it'll be, what else can you do in addition to what you've already done and build on your resume that you've already got? CC here. Good evening, gents. If Mahomes wins, could be the best 6-year stint in NFL history. It'll be up there for sure. It should put Mahomes automatically in the top 10 to 15 QBs all time already at such a young age. I think it'll be in the upper end of that. Like, it's right at the top. Again, hard to match those level of accomplishments. Like I said, even if we use the Brady example that I said, I make fun of so much. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and then they went a stretch where they didn't win. It wasn't a short stretch either. It was like a decade. Like, they didn't win another one for a decade. They had to kind of reinvent the team and the way they did it, completely change it up. The second half was a very different structure to that New England team than the first group. So it's very different the way they went from point A to point B. And that may be what has to happen with Kansas City. That's why I say maybe take advantage of this opportunity. If you're Kansas City, you really want to get this one because you might have to retool and figure out another way and rebuild. And if you have to do that, it's not easy. So no guarantees. You can come back and redo it again.
Between age, injury, and salary cap, teams change. They don't stick together all that long. So yeah, you're going to have your ups and downs, but if you can keep a core group and the team philosophy, you can rebuild.
Yeah, it's going to be on Kansas City. I will be I'll be curious to see what they end up doing because I'll be fascinated to see it. I'm more excited to see how this affects Christian McCaffrey's legacy. There you go. San Francisco was able to stop Green Bay while KC could not, although it was a regular season game. Well, San Francisco was barely able to stop Green Bay. There was a little bit of Purdy party, good fortune, let's just say. Not quite as much good fortune as the Detroit game. The Detroit game was just inexcusable. I cannot, like, Detroit needs to have a serious look in the mirror and a serious conversation with themselves because that's an opportunity squandered. Well, there's no way to put it another way. And look, Eric jinxing you is one thing. Like, his hatred of Detroit is only rivaled by Bobby's hatred of Atlanta. It's bizarre.
I can't believe that Detroit lost that game and made me look as stupid as they made me look. I don't need help looking stupid. Okay.
No, you don't.
I can do that on my own without an NFL franchise assisting.
It is. Bart Starr won 5 and 7 years. That is true. That's a different era, though. We're talking like pre-Super Bowl into early Super Bowl era. But yes, he did indeed do that. I don't think anybody thinks about that, though, because football has this weird, I've talked about this before. Football has this weird thing, and Paul and Dakota and other ones, and we've had this discussion. Football has a problem with the way it's designed and structured because the game has changed so many ways, so many times that looking at the one era of the leather helmets has no bearing on the Bart Starr era of the 50s and 60s, which has no bearing on the 70s and 80s, which has even less bearing on the 90s and 2000s, which has no bearing on the 2010s, 2020s. They're completely different. They're almost different sports. It's like it reset every 20 years or so. So what are you going to do with that? Like, Bart Starr was great, but the way they did it was very different than the way they did it in the leather helmet era in the early days of football, and is also different than the way they did in the 70s and 80s. Completely different. It worked for them. They were successful, but that's the reason why you've got all these different eras. The last 20 years has been completely different than the previous years that came before it. Super Bowl prop. Will sports card stat be over under 3-minute infomercial before a 5-minute video on how I wasted money? ? 8 minutes over under. Prop bet also. I take the over on everything. In a vacuum, I take the over. And yes. For me, biggest matchup: San Francisco D versus Pacheco. If they can stop him, they're in trouble. I guess Ladybug line was perfect. There you go. Bradshaw 1-4, and he's not even in the top 10 all time. Yeah, he's not even thought about. That was a great team. They were very successful, but yeah, Bradshaw isn't thought of as being a top tier quarterback. But he's got rings, so good on him. Most New England Super Bowls won by a fraction, and that was another thing. It was there were no. So Eric, this would be kind of interesting. Again, we can have this debate forever into good. What I want to see, I'll tell you this. What I want to see, I don't think this is going to be the one for that either. What I would love to see though, if someone wants to try to make a stake on the GOAT conversation, I need to see a Super Bowl where you actually just dominate the other team. It can't be this one score game bullshit, last minute field goal, whatever. Just once, put a stomping on somebody. Because San Francisco, in the day of Joe Montana, had a couple of those where they just put a stomping on somebody. And they just won, like flat out. There's no doubt. There's no question. The fourth quarter didn't even have to be played. We knew who won. I would love. Brady never had one of those.
Okay.
Exclamation point.
So yes, the team never had one of those. Brady did. Brady threw like 500 yards
and lost that game.
Talking about just them as players.
I'm talking about the actual score on the game. I'm talking about the game itself.
But that is a team game. So So I never said it was, it was all about Brady winning Super Bowls. I said he was the star. All I've said tonight is that he was.
But in that game, Eric. So in the game you're talking about, I watched that game. Okay. In the game you're talking about,
500 yards.
Yes, and he had to do it because of where they were in that game. He didn't have a choice.
Right. So the team didn't pull out the win. But if you're looking at greatest quarterbacks of all time, someone who throws for 500 plus yards in a Super Bowl, that's pretty damn impressive.
Unless the game necessitated it, where it opened up, where the Eagles didn't care. They could have let him throw for 800 yards and they were still going to lose because of the structure of the way that game was playing out. Most of those yards were garbage time. They were garbage. They meant nothing. That's why they lost. They still lost the game. Speaking of this, don't forget 1990 San Francisco. So worried about LT that Carl Banks got through and breaks Montana's hand. That's true. They had a run there where they had a chance, maybe one more. Let's call Brady the greatest winner. Yeah. As far as having the most rings, he's got that. And he's also got the regular season stats, but I think the regular season stats, a bunch of those are going to fall because of the structure of the game now, 17 game regular seasons and the whole bit.
Right.
I think a lot of those yard records are going to pass.
Yeah. Absolutely. You start adding more games, you get a whole extra game to pad stats. Now because of Brady in 2008, you can't touch quarterbacks anymore. You can't bump wide receivers after like 5 yards anymore, like they did back in the day. There's all these rules that have, I understand a lot of it's player safety and CTE, and that's all very important and real. But it comes down to the game is different now than it used to be. It's a lot easier game to play now than it was 20 years ago.
I agree with that. So Will Sports Card here says, what if San Francisco wins that game, wins the Super Bowl? I think he's talking about 3 consecutive Super Bowls because San Francisco was in the running for a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl that year that he's referring to. And Montana would still be in the GOAT conversation. Look, I have a lot of fun with it, but like to me, Montana still is in the GOAT conversation. I still think 4-0 is something. I still think 4-0 is still tremendous. And again, there were a couple of like definitive, there's no doubt, like this is not a cheap victory, like you won. Flat out. I think what hurts him is just that the regular season stats didn't add up. Like they weren't the monster numbers, but he was in the era before those monster numbers really kicked in. It was pretty much Dan Marino who was putting up the crazy numbers. And everyone else wasn't up to that level yet. But then the rules changed. And then the rules changed again. And then now it's like, I think Eric threw for 4,500 yards this year, which is crazy. It's very impressive. But, it's a different game.
Or 15,000.
Yeah, he might have. 15,000 might be right. I think that's the key, though. That's the key to the whole thing. So I think that's the number one thing is that, again, it depends on your aesthetic. It depends on what your criteria is, what you're looking for. So to Eric's point, if we're just counting rings, then fine. Then Brady wins. Then he's Bill Russell. But the problem is in the NBA, nobody looks at Bill Russell as the guy, but he has more rings than anybody else.
11.
Easily. So why are we even talking about Jordan? Jordan has barely just over half as many. But Jordan was 6-0. He did a lot of tremendous things. So it's tough. And also 11, and then look at how many seasons he actually played. Like on a percentage basis, in terms of the amount of championships versus seasons, is actually a crazy number if you actually look at it.
It's apples and oranges. The NBA was still very young. The talent level wasn't the same in Russell's era when compared to Jordan's. Plus you had, the 80s and into the 90s, NBA basketball was straight violent. It was violent. That's why people loved it. There was fist fights out on the courts, and
it was like Eric on half price chocolate stick night.
Oh my God!
And they were throwing apples and oranges at the people.
It was crazy.
It was nuts.
So Jordan's the greatest of all time because he won those 6 championships in the toughest era in basketball history against the best competition. So that's why he's the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Now, if LeBron wasn't such a big wimpy baby, he's an unbelievable talent and a physical freak of nature. But he's also the biggest, whiniest, floppiest bitch that's ever been in the league.
Ooh, so Eric wants to fight LeBron. Let's go.
If LeBron James could be tough,
and
he played back in that era, he still would have been a superstar. But right with his mentality, he would never have survived the 90s in the 80s.
Wow.
I like the sequence of the next couple of comments. We'll get back to your LeBron slander here in a little bit. I'll have a little fun with it. By the way, just for the record, I also think you're forgetting to take into account one thing. And Ham agrees with you. So there you go. I think you're forgetting to take into account one thing.
I changed my mind. Keep it all back.
You made a mistake. Now Florida man's on your side and you're doomed.
Yeah.
I think you're forgetting one thing is that Jordan, when he got to the NBA, had actually played in high school. He played in college. So like when he got to the NBA, he was actually at least, in the early stages of being a grown adult. LeBron was basically 18 when he started. He was a child and basically told he was the greatest from the beginning. So he didn't have a chance to get slapped down a little bit.
No.
The talent, the physical talent was there, but I think if you have a little bit of friction in your formative years, it then informs the rest of your life, because if it's too easy early, it messes up everything else. But the physical talent is still there. That's just a point I'm going to make, just a point, just a thought to chew on. Remember that. Because like I said, I think it's a factor that plays into this. I don't worry about the conversation between those two guys. I have no problem with Jordan being the GOAT in that conversation, but I do think LeBron's longevity is impressive. Again, you complain about the whining, it's like he's still playing at 20 years. Like he's still playing. And he's still playing at a high level, which is impressive in and of itself.
He couldn't have played 20 years back then because Rodman would have clotheslined him and killed him.
Yeah, and the thing is, remember, Eric, the same conversation you're having. Jordan's toughest rivalries were with those bad boy Pistons, and they had to get past the bad boy Pistons to do what they were going to do.
Right.
Nobody else tried to challenge him the same way the bad boy Pistons did. So it's like they suddenly stopped. It wasn't that it stopped being physical, but not like that. If the bad boy Pistons keep going for another 5-10 years, do you think Jordan's still going to keep? Jordan would already be dead. And also, if Jordan was playing in today's era, there's a good chance his own team would kill him.
Well,
Jordan came in after Larry
because of his attitude. The way he approaches the game is great for Jordan, and it's great when everybody buys into it. But as a leader, if you have a mutiny in your own locker room because the other players are not going to play along with it, he will not. Let's put it this: Jordan is a tough guy. He was tough enough to do what he needed to do in the NBA, but he was friends with Charles Oakley when he needed to be friends with Charles Oakley. If Charles Oakley was not his friend, Charles Oakley would have kicked his ass. There's a bunch of other players on his team that would have kicked his ass too if they had a problem with him. So JW here says, Bills, Jim Kelly. How good do you have to be to make it to 4 Super Bowls? 0-4 is a great accomplishment, in my opinion. 4 Super Bowls in a row will never happen again. I agree with this.
When we have talked about this on the podcast, I brought up Kelly and how amazing that is, and I don't think Kelly gets enough credit because
it's unfortunate. His great, like I said, if he had been, even if he'd been 1-3 in Super Bowl, 1-2 in Super Bowls, he'd actually be held in higher regard than being 0-4. Even just one victory would make all the difference for him in his legacy.
Yeah,
he'd still be a Hall of Famer either way.
Who the hell
in his legacy
leads their team to 4 Super Bowls in a row during the Super Bowl era? I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It's right up there. It's right up there with Brady going to 10, but 4 in a row. That's insane.
If the Pats would have lost those 2 close Super Bowl games with Atlanta and Seattle, how much of an impact would have had on Brady's legacy? Well, according to Eric, none.
10 is 10.
Can't play them what if game. So
10
the Buffalo was in his division, though. Should we even count those?
10 is 10.
Pats won, but all Seattle blew those games. Yes. NBA legislating physicality of the game is a mistake. Product is too soft now. That's fair. I have no issue with that. Brady got the unfair advantage. Giselle Bundchen performed witchcraft. Probably true.
Yeah,
Adam Holmes arguably doesn't have a wish for a wife. Well, there you go. Eagles New England Super Bowl. New England was the first to ball on 5 of 6 Eagles trick plays. New England was first to ball on 5 of 6 Eagles trick plays. Hey, listen, New England had plenty of luck during their run. Sometimes the luck goes the other way. Biggest rivalry: Carlos versus the Dutch, Bobby versus Atlanta, Eric versus LeBron. Ooh,
big whiny bitch.
You had to give me Atlanta.
The thing is, I literally had a video package against the Dutch, Eric. I have a storied history with the Dutch, going back years now, going back to 2006. We're approaching a decade of my feud with the Dutch. We only just learned about Bobby's feud with Atlanta,
right?
And your feud with LeBron started like tonight. We didn't know about it. We weren't even aware.
I've been holding it in, but I can't hold it in anymore.
Clearly. Guys like Dennis Rodman, Charles Barkley Oakley would have destroyed LeBron. Yes, probably. LeBron needs more help. Man in Sudanese man, yes. At 18, LeBron looks like he was 30. With the hairline, probably, yeah.
True enough.
Yeah, there to rewatch. LeBron would have played back in the 80s for 30 years because they were all smoking cigarettes. That's fair. 0-4, Dame Scott Norwood. I actually, I've said this before, seriously. I actually think if Norwood had made the kick and they had won, the sliding doors change of the world would have been this. I don't think the Bills would have gone to 4 straight Super Bowls, but I think they would have probably won one more. And it would have been a situation where they win 2, maybe they get to 2, maybe they get to 3, but they win 2. Jim Kelly is the first ballot Hall of Famer, no question, no doubt. Nobody goes. They build him a fucking statue outside of the stadium.
Didn't they already do that? He already is.
No, but I mean, they would have built it like 10 seconds after he retired. Like literally as he's retiring, they're finishing chiseling it. Like it would have been done. It would have been Jim Kelly Arena, Jim Kelly Stadium. As it is, he's still a legend. There's no doubt. But I'm saying, like, it would have, they would have named Buffalo would have been Jim Kellyville. Okay, they would have just renamed it.
He still should.
LeBron would make a great Pippen in the 80s. There you go. Jordan couldn't get past the finals when Birds, Celtics, and Pistons were at their best. When they got old and retired, Jordan won. See, I've made this pitch before. And some of the basketball guys want to whine about it. But look, here's the thing. I'm not taking away from Jordan's greatness. But the Birds, Celtics, but remember, the 80s, the Birds, Celtics, and the Magic Lakers were bludgeoning each other over the head every year. And like Jordan wasn't even in the conversation. He didn't even matter.
He was young.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I'm saying by the time Jordan hit his peak, then he had to get past the bad boy Pistons. So he had that too. But the problem is, by the time he hit his peak, look, my knock on Jordan, if I was going to look, I've built a case against Tom Brady's Super Bowls. I've done this. A very effective case, I might add. Even Brad Harlan, Brady fan, struggled against that case I built against him. But here's the case against Jordan. 6 championships, 6-0 is undeniable in terms of the number, in terms of 6 MVPs. All these things are true. But number one, what we're talking about here. But all right, let's say it was about him getting mature. Okay, fair enough. I think that's reasonable. Okay, let me throw this at you. By the time Jordan got there, we had just come off the era with the Birds, Celtics, and the Magic Lakers bludgeoning each other for a decade. Well, by the time we get to this era, okay, so in the 90s, who are the teams? Go back and look at the teams they actually played. The first one they beat was the LA Lakers. So people say, oh, the Lakers. Those Lakers were on fumes, man. Kareem was retired. Like that team was already worn down. They were rather beaten. They still had enough. Great. They still had enough to get there. They were still good enough to get there in 91, but that wasn't the same team. Like that wasn't the same team that you would have faced in the middle of the 80s. That was not on that caliber. Again, a victory is a victory. It counts. We're going to count it. The second one I want to say was the Portland Trailblazers, maybe. I might be getting my order wrong, but I think it's the Portland Trailblazers.
Maybe Portland.
Good team. And obviously you had, Clyde Drexler. There was some good play. The argument is that there's Hall of Famers on these teams, which is true. But here's my counter argument to that. None of these teams ever made it back to that finals except for the Utah Jazz, and I'll get to them in a second. Portland Trailblazers, good team. Hall of Fame players on it, yes. But were they like a juggernaut team? Not really. So Jordan and the Bulls dispatched them. They won. And we never heard of the Trailblazers again. 93, Phoenix Suns. Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer again.
MVP.
But again, we never heard of them again after that. Like they had that one, that was their one run. That was it. So again, even with Hall of Fame players and with great players, that was it. Then Jordan takes a break, takes a vacation. For whatever reason you think he was taking a vacation. By the way, I stand that the break was beneficial to him as well because it helped him recharge his batteries. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to come back and do the second three-peat. So comes back, loses the first playoff series that they come back, but then he comes back and then goes on another run, 3 more championships. So who do they play after that? I think, and someone can fact check me, I think it was Seattle that they played to start off the second three-peat. I believe it was right around the late 90s there. I think it was Seattle first, and then it was Utah twice. I believe that is correct. So again, someone can fact check me, please do. But I think it was, so Seattle was a young team, super talented young players, but they weren't ready. They weren't ready for that. And they also never made it back. The only team that ever made it back to play the Bulls the second time during that entire run was the Utah Jazz. Here's the problem. Go look up how old Karl Malone and John Stockton were. John Stockton and Karl Malone were his contemporaries. Mm-hmm. By the time they finally got to an NBA Finals, they were old. So he's playing this team that is good enough to get to the finals, but Jordan, in the second three-peat, Jordan had Dennis Rodman. They had this team of players who were like excellent. And of course, Jordan was still performing at an absolute top-tier level, but let's not get this twisted. The Utah Jazz were a very fancy jobber for them. There's some wrestling parlance for you. They were a very fancy jobber. They had a ring entrance and everything, and a theme music. But they're the Brooklyn Brawler with some accoutrement. Get out of here. You're not worthy. I'm sorry.
Hey, you don't badmouth the Brooklyn Brawler, okay? Guy's a legend.
So my point is that, like, it counts. But you have to beat who's in front of you. Arguably, the more challenging matchups for them were the East. The teams they had to play in the East to get to the finals was arguably their bigger challenge en route to getting to the finals. But by that point, it's like that. So they never had like the really epic finals matchup with a worthy opponent. The Lakers would have been the closest, but they were on fumes. They were done. I think it was over for them at that point. That's, again, my opinion. Again, not a basketball guy, so I'm not going to pretend he was. But that's my observation based on what I remember about those teams and watching them during that period. Would you rather one Prism Black Shimmer Auto or White Sparkle Auto? Ooh, Black Shimmer, White Sparkle.
I don't want either.
Oh, but you do. Reggie Lemon, White Sparkle?
No.
White Sparkle it is.
Oh, I'm good.
Rodman Clotheslines, LeBron's broken elbow, maybe. That's a prostate issue, Eric. True.
I don't know what is, but okay.
Who knows? Listen, it was 7 minutes ago. It was a heady time.
And it was ham, so God only knows what's coming out of his messed up head.
Who knows, man? Maybe he's still high on wings. He could still be very excited about that.
Oh, he's still got the smell up in his nose there.
Mm-hmm.
7 different smells.
Yeah, Jordan was 27 when he won his first title. That is true.
If Brady had been drafted, an athlete. Hold on, an athlete is at their in a human is at their physical peak at 27 years old. That is a scientific fact. You are at your absolute peak at 27.
I also think that it's a scientific fact that if you allow the juggernaut teams that are around you to all die and then you take over by default, then you win by the greatest words. Default!
I agree with you, Eric, but there's a time that experience kind of replaces a lot of that. And So it's, although you're at your physical peak, your mental peak is maybe a couple of years after that.
I would
That's
agree
how-
with that. I would agree with that too. The human brain fully develops at 25.
And just in your profession, you become at that higher level.
Yeah.
And I think, even though your physical part goes down, you still stay, mentally sharper towards the game, I think.
Black Box Hobby here says, if Brady had been drafted in the 6th round by some other team, it's possible he faded out of the league like any other late round QB. Not a slam, just adds to his mystique, really. If Brady had been drafted in the 6th round by any other team, he'd be pumping gas on the friendship bridge for Eric.
You gave it away. Oh, no.
Just saying. I would say the Bulls were better than the Pistons the first 2 championship years. The Pistons could get away with cheap shots. The Lakers, Celtics were stacked with talent. Yes, that's fair. I get you. But like I said, the physicality, look, part of the argument was the physicality, right? So we can't have it both ways. Either you live with the physicality of that era, which was part of the game, or you say like, oh, maybe they were the better team, but you still had to deal with what you had to deal with. It was part of it. But then the Bad Boy Pistons went away. They were no longer the boogeyman. They were gone, right? And then, like I said, the Lakers faded out. Larry Bird was out. He was, at that point, his back was shot. Like, it was done. All these guys who had been an impediment to him suddenly faded into the background. They were gone. And look, Jordan seized on the opportunity. At the end of the day, you beat who's in front of you. Your job is just to beat whoever's in front of you. You deal with it. I just think that era was very interesting in that he won those 6 championships at the perfect era for him to win 6 championships.
Yes.
Because right after that, then the Lakers suddenly recharged with Shaq and those guys. And by that point, Jordan's like, I'm vamoosing again. I'm out in Chicago, and then eventually he comes back as a wizard. Well, that's not going to work. We all knew that wasn't going to work. So fine.
Well, he thought he had real magic. He was confused.
Yeah, it was a little confusing.
And the 86 Celtics are the greatest basketball team of all time. When you have Bill Walton as a backup center, you're the greatest team of all time.
Wills here says the Phoenix 92 team was the most dangerous. I still remember KJ kind of laid an egg in the finals. Yeah, that's fair. I think Phoenix had some great players. I just think they weren't able to recapture that magic again. I would love to have seen any of those young teams that the Bulls played reload and take another crack at that same Bulls team. I would love to have seen the rematch where maybe they learned something, but none of them were able to put the pieces back together a second time, except Utah. But again, Utah was old. So like, their 2 best players were contemporaries of Jordan, and Jordan had a team and had the experience, and they had all those things going into it. And Utah had never actually won anything, and those guys were trying to figure it out late in their careers, relatively speaking. I can't remember if it's Malone or Stockton. One of them is older than Jordan, so like both those guys were his contemporaries. Yeah, probably. But I'm saying, like, so they were contemporaries. It wasn't like there were these young bucks challenging the Jordan Bulls. Like, no, they were contemporaries. They were his peers in his era. Super 52 is a big dig. Shove it down your throats. There you go. Let's see. Stukes, Pippen wasn't there or close to his peak. MJ didn't have much help in the mid 80s. All right. They're getting the basketball discussion. I like it. I didn't have basketball. Ooh, the thumbs up is back. I don't know why. It was there.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Pippen was there when Jordan. Look, StreamYard wants you to hit the thumbs up for Bougie Eric. Jordan played in 86 to 82. Played from 86 to 82. That's impressive. Not sure what that's about, but okay. LeBron made it to the finals 10 times. The 4 times his team won. How many? Now, this is a sequence of comments here, so I'll read one after another. 4 times his team won. How many historically good teams did they beat? In my opinion, not many. CC, don't forget the team they beat, the all-time record for regular season wins. They beat that Golden State Warriors team. CC, LeBron literally beat the 73-9 record. So Simon's 466 cards. Good evening. What are you talking about? I love when the basketball guys get into it. All right, I like it. I'm going to quickly scroll through here. 25 comes before 27, Eric.
Okay, so hold on. The human brain fully develops at the age of 25. At 27, you have reached your physical peak. Those are 2 separate conversations. Thank you.
CC says, Eric, you should love LeBron. Both he and your guy Brady made it to the finals 10 times. That is true. Hold on. Okay. If we're being consistent on this point, the Eric's contention is the amount of times you make it to the championship. Yeah. Basically, he said that if Brady had been 3-7, he'd still be the GOAT, even though that would be less championship wins than other people.
Mhm.
But the fact he made it 10 times would make him the GOAT. So
Okay,
LeBron
so
has made it 10 times.
two things.
And he
Number
won
one,
4, which is actually better statistically than the
did
number I
not
gave you.
say anything about his skill level except positive things.
So
He is highly
But he's a
talented,
GOAT, Eric. He made it to the
highly-
finals more times.
highly talented, absolute freak of nature physically. It is much easier to get to an NBA final than it is a Super Bowl.
So why is that? Well, so why is no one else in the modern era gotten there 10
And-
times? Why is it Bill Russell and Celtics from the 60s?
We already said this. We already had this conversation. The reason Russell isn't considered the GOAT is because of the era in which he played. Jordan is considered the GOAT because of the 6-0 record, but the era he played is the toughest in basketball history.
So how old
Today's game is a joke.
Wait, I thought the toughest era in basketball history was the 80s.
I just heard that.
Jordan played in the 80s and 90s.
But he didn't win in the 80s. He won in the 90s.
So how old was Jordan when he won his first championship?
I think
Someone
27
said
was the number that's
27.
thrown out there.
Oh, he was 27.
That's what someone said.
So he's at his physical peak when he starts.
Yeah.
And he's at his
And
peak.
while the 80s are
And his
going on, the
mental
toughest
peak is
era,
25,
he doesn't
but
win
he
shit.
wins from 27,
Because-
28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So how does anything that you said, Eric, regarding physical peak and mental peak even come close to what he did after that? That's where the experience comes in. That's where you hit your stride. So physical peak really means nothing at that point because he reached his peak. And he was, if anything, he was on the down curve, right? So at that point, he's winning all the championships. So you hold your synopsis holds no water. Next.
No. Jordan
Okay,
is
what
great
else, Carlos? What's that
because
written down there?
We're getting so I'm gonna read a couple of comments here.
this was
Hang
7
tight.
years later, after his
All right, I'm muting him. All right, T206 kid. Would have been an interesting series if Houston. Well, Eric will have a chance to say his piece, but I want to read a couple of these comments. There's a couple of good ones here. T206 kid says would have been an interesting series if Houston had played Chicago in '94 and '95. Jordan did retire, which would have been interesting. Houston was able to get its 2 championships there. That's why I say it would have been interesting to see these teams compete. Houston was actually a really good team those years. I would love to have seen Chicago match up with them. That would have been interesting. Summary last night kick ass. He's clearly saving himself for playoffs, but last night he went 100%. Yep. I need a headband and someone to pop my back acne. Live the dream, Bob Boozle. 6, yep. Bulls would have been tired, hurt, and Hakeem would have been a tough matchup. Like I said, the Skip Bayless school of, he would have won 8 straight. No chance. 0%. Literally 0%. So LA Pats is trying to back Eric up here. Brady won 7, big difference. But Eric said he would have still been the GOAT if he'd been 3-7. So I reversed it, and he still said he was still the GOAT. Suk says Kareem made 10 finals, which is also true, actually. He was 6-4 in the finals. And people kind of forget about him, and he was the all-time leading scorer. So it was like, wait a minute, you forgot about Kareem. Too bad Jordan got caught gambling in basketball. Yes. Statistically, it's harder for the NFL team to make the final, 132 compared to 130 in the NBA. There you go. Toughest era doesn't mean it was the most skilled era. There you go. 7466 cards. All right. Now you may speak, Eric. I wanted to get caught up on comments first.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Sorry.
So average Joe card collector agrees with me. It is harder to get to a Super Bowl than it is an NBA final. Right?
Yep.
So all I was saying is,
And the reason for that is
Jordan
what?
is so impressive because he hit his first final and win at his absolute peak at 27, and then 7 years later he's still winning, right? Because of the break in the middle. So that's why he's so he did it in the toughest era with the best players of all time.
He did not do it in the toughest era. He won after the toughest era.
Yes.
No,
The 90s was no longer the toughest era.
They were still beating the hell out of him his entire career.
Not compared to the 80s. In the 80s, people died, Eric. People died.
And then
No,
you
I'm
said
pretty-
the
I'm
Celtics
pretty-
were the best team in the 80s.
I'm
so I
pretty
don't know
sure
what's going
Kevin
on.
The
Yeah.
80s was the
Yeah.
American. The 80s was the American Civil War, Revolutionary War into World War I and World War II.
Yeah, I watched
90s
Kurt
was
Rambis
Korea.
die live on
90s
TV.
was
Yeah.
Korea. Still bad, still war, but not like trench warfare, Eric. It's not the
No.
same.
That's like Vietnam.
Toughest era, that's right. Kobe over LeBron. There you go. Fair enough. LA Pats. Fair enough. Like, I didn't realize we'd end up in an impassioned NBA conversation. I like Simon 466 cards. Thank you for participating, and thank you everybody else, all the basketball guys, for chiming in. Like, I enjoy it. I have fun with it. Basketball's not much work. I'm never going to pretend it is, but I don't mind having the conversation because I've watched enough and I've kept up on the stats and studied often enough that I can speak to it a little bit, but I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about it. But I like I said, I understand Eric's argument, but it is fun for me because I can kind of be like, well, wasn't it, the 80s to me was the toughest era because people were dying and killing each other, and you had to look. The analogy I'll use, and Eric can understand this one. The analogy I use was that mid to late 90s in particular, Western Conference hockey conference. You had the Colorado Avalanche with a stacked team of Hall of Famers, Detroit with a stacked team of Hall of Famers, and Dallas, who ended up with a stacked team of Hall of Fame. These three were in the same conference. They were killing each other. They were literally bludgeoning each other every single year. The Western Conference Final was full with some combination of these teams bludgeoning each other. And whoever was the victor usually won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That happened for years. And the only team that could legitimately compete in the East, truly, was New Jersey.
Not the least.
And that was the only team that was like worthy of facing one of these teams. They were Leviathans. It was an era, a completely different era of these teams bludgeoning each other every year for the right to be there at the end. So the team that won was battle tested, battle scarred, battle tested.
Yeah, and regarding Eric saying it's easier to get to an NFL or harder with the NFL than it is the basketball, because the NFL is based on one game wins advance, whereas they play series in basketball and hockey as well too. So that's why it's more played out fair. Where football is like any given Sunday, that meaning is 100% true. It's like one game, that's it. Oh, we lost, but we won every game of the year, and we lost that one game. It's like stupid. Come on.
That's a good comp, specifically because of that Super Bowl they lost on the kick.
Yeah.
The wide right kick. Because
typical.
honestly, if you gave that Bills team and you said best out of 3, you don't think they don't come out pissed off and beat up on the Giants the next 2 times? They're like, you know what, screw this. We're not making it that close again. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to make sure.
And that's really where it cuts down to. You can never tell who's going to win or where it's going to end. With the basketball, and at least hockey, you can kind of see where things are going. And what should happen doesn't always happen, but for the most part, it does. Football, best team loses against the worst team, happens all the time. Just takes that one.
Record, greatest player in NBA history?
Stockton?
Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete.
Pete Maravich?
Yep. You guys can
says Kareem won 3 NBA NCAA titles, an NBA championship his second season, was relevant in the great 80s. True. In the 90s, it was harder. The NBA Finals had to go through Chicago. In the East, yes. Changing my name to Brady to 0. There you go. 2020s was like Grenada. I like that he continued the war comp. I appreciate it.
That's right.
I feel like Saturn's have used number of games and irrelevant variance chance in sports to say best team wins most often basketball, then hockey, then basketball, then football. I think I will say that, look, if you're legitimately like the best team, I do think in basketball you got the best chance of actually winning the championship. I think that is true. Hockey is tough because of having 4 rounds. It's just the fact that you have to do 4 rounds. Weird stuff happens. Number 8s beat number 1s all the time. It happens regularly because for whatever reason, the team just didn't put the pieces together.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, assholes. You need 16 wins to lift the cup. That's a lot of wins.
Yeah. I think the fact that football is a 1-game playoff all the way through, again, you could literally just have one bad day and it screws your whole thing. Like you literally just, you were off.
Detroit did.
Yeah.
One bad
you were
half.
off that day. Yeah. You were off that day and that was it. You had a good plan and everything, but you didn't execute for whatever reason, had a bad day, and now you're watching the game. Like I said, all the teams that are right now watching that were in the playoffs this year are going to be kicking themselves this entire Super Bowl. I guarantee the entirety of the game, they're going to be sitting there like, we could have beaten that team. I guarantee they're going to sit there and think that.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the hot goalie thing a real thing? Yes. 100%.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, if your goalie catches fire at the right time, you could run that straight to a championship. It's happened many times.
What's it? Bennington, St. Louis.
Yeah. The first year, Wah, the first year Montreal, the very first year. Yeah. He was just some kid, and ran it right to the finals, and they won. Timberwolves have a player that reminds me of Jordan, Anthony Edwards. He's 22 years old. All right, fair enough. I'll take your word for it. I don't watch too much basketball. I'll speak to the 90s one because I did watch a little bit, but so I remember that.
I still root for the Celtics. I hope they do well. I'd love to see another parade, the whole thing, but I really do not enjoy modern day NBA basketball. I'm spoiled. I grew up in the best time in NBA history. I, was able to watch the Celtics play, on TV, 80 games a year. Every game was on. So you got to see Larry Bird play his entire career, got to see Jordan, got to see Magic, got to see all the greats. And now I watch this league now, and all they do is chuck up threes. They play no defense. They don't want to rebound. They don't want to bang bodies. They just want to chuck up threes and backpedal. And it's gross to watch. It brings me no enjoyment.
Terribleness. Yep. Just ask Quick about the Kings about a hot goal. Yes, absolutely. There's plenty of examples of a goaltender getting hot and riding that to
having a great year, huh? In New York, people thought Quick was like his career was over, and he's like the number one goalie at the Rangers right now.
Fuck the Rangers.
Fuck the Rangers. That doesn't mean that Quick's not the number one goalie in New York right now. People thought he was all done.
Well, at least we'll win the cup anyway. So
live the dream, Bobby.
Because all the news tells me that Matthew scored another goal. He just keeps scoring goals.
He is scoring a lot of goals. What's he up to? Like his low 40s?
Yeah.
What's he up
to? Have you solidified a goalie up there yet? Or are you still?
No, we're working on defense for the last.
Going to kill him
for the last 10 years.
I'm worried about Samsonov, man. That guy's going to put a gun in his mouth.
Pretty soon. With the defense that he has, yes.
Hey, I know, but everyone blames him. The
you can't. You got to blame the defense because they haven't replaced the defense. We got a hell of a forward team that we're paying tens of trillions of dollars to outscore our opponents, not to play against them. We have to outscore them because they're letting all the goals in the back.
You're trying to win 8-6. It's like, no, that's not how you play.
No, and they haven't figured that out yet. It's like maybe I'm the only person that sees it, and I'm the stupid one. I don't know. I guess so. But everybody else says that.
You're in the garage of knowledge. You can't be the stupid one.
See, Eric knows. He knows. He gets.
Does that mean you're going to give him access to the app now?
Not at all.
Come on! I sucked up and everything.
I was curious. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to be clear on this matter.
When that teaspoon of mayo goes in your mouth, brother, you got the app. 100%.
You can keep your goddamn app.
See, it was pretty easy.
No,
Zach says.
I'd rather just have my free mug with my M&Ms in it.
The mug isn't free. You may think it's free.
Oh,
you paid, Eric. You paid a horrible price.
I'm telling you it back.
So M&Ms and diabetes will hit you hard, brother.
So speak of the long con, Bobby. Speak of the long con, dang. You'll get him. You'll get him one day.
Yeah. He stopped chewing for a second there. But anyway.
He hesitated for a moment. He goes, am I going to regret this? Am I in danger? Yes, Eric, you are. Zach says, I have seasons that I'm totally locked in the NBA. Other seasons it bores me. I barely watch the season. Oh, that's fair. I get it. Like, look, I've talked about it here many a time. In most of the sports at this point, I'm very much a casual viewer. I like watching football. I enjoy kind of the ritual of sitting on Sunday. I'll put on Red Zone, and I can watch a lot of the games. The Packer games, I'll sit there and I'll watch for sure. Was that
6-2, 4-6-4, 8-6? I like watching the end 5 minutes basketball.
Oh yeah. That's a different conversation. But so when I'm watching Red Zone, I'll be sitting there and it'll flip between the games and it'll constantly keep the action moving, which is great. You don't have to sit there and watch people like line up and you're waiting for them to call a play. And it's like, but when I'm watching the Packers, I will sit there then and watch the game more fully because I'm more invested, obviously. But it still lets me keep track of the league. It still lets me keep up with what's going on. But with the other ones, no. Regular season baseball, I'm not really paying attention. Playoffs, I'll lock in for playoffs, but regular season, I'm barely paying attention. Hockey season, honestly, regular season, I'm barely paying attention to that either. I'll check in on the scores in the evening. I'll check in just to see what's going on, if anything interesting is going on. And I've got the stupid streaming package, which is the worst. I'm literally paying for the privilege where I could watch all the games, and I can't be bothered.
A lot of time.
Not worth it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Pick up the Canadian,
you can't get that time back.
Yeah, it's the time. It's like I could be doing other things. Wapner at 7, Bobby. There you go. Wapner at 7, Bobby.
Okay.
I don't know. But I think that's the thing is that, yeah, I'm very picky now about the time that I have. I do still watch a fair bit of YouTube, but I'll be honest, like I was telling the guys before I hit play, the sports card setup has been pretty quiet. It's been kind of interesting. I think we had the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, and all of a sudden everybody quieted right down. There's a couple of videos here and there, but it's like
Rattle Pokemon's been busy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He did get sued. That is true.
Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting to see how successful.
Eric to hit the like button for Rattle.
Yeah, he might have to. Yeah, he might have to hit the like button to support Rattle Pokemon. I'll be curious though, because Rattle is based out of Canada, and when you get that kind of a lawsuit, now I will say this: I think he does a lot of I enjoy a lot of the stuff he does, but I have noticed since the Logan Paul thing, he does get into he does it, but he also kind of plays up to it and drags it out a little bit. Like he's making points, and he makes it like a video. He makes it like an hour-long video, and it probably could have been 35 minutes, where he just gets cutesy about it. He gets
over the finite everything, so he's really covering the bases. So there's no question after you watch it, you've been served.
Oh no, yes, but I'm still saying like there's 35 minutes of like solid material, but then he will still find 15-20 minutes of filler. Like it's where he gets cutesy and he'll start making his little jokes and everything. And it's like, well, that's basically what you got sued over. Now, do I think he can win the lawsuit? Probably. But again, the question is going to be
what price?
Because I don't know what the cross-jurisdictional thing is. Because look, we talked about the whole anti-slap thing in the past, and I'm not going to pretend to be versed on it, but there is some mechanisms in place to protect you. But I don't know how it works cross-border.
Well, with internet, it's different, right?
I think it's whatever jurisdiction is it goes under. I think that's the key. Is whatever jurisdiction it goes under is kind of the law of the land.
So he would have to get a USA lawyer representative for him to represent him down there,
or at least somebody that's familiar with that type of law. Because again, because when you're dealing with that kind of, you want somebody with the familiarity to be able to say. That's why, like, he's got a GoFundMe thing, whatever, and I think he was looking for 100K. Which it's very possible the legal fees could go up to that level if
or more.
It doesn't get figured out or settled fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to, bankrupt him into, taking his word back. But what he's saying is true. So, you had to pay to win, I guess, at that point, right? And that's the unfortunate part is like he doesn't obviously have a lot of money. So, what happens the next time?
Well, that's just it. Yeah. It's look, I think
Logan Paul always talked with a G.I. Joe,
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe Logan Paul could give him some. Maybe Logan Paul could give him some G.I. Joe cards.
When we did that podcast, I almost remembered that when he did it, it was so unoriginal. When he said G.I. Joe, it wasn't natural. I think I said it in the podcast. I have to go back to that time period, but I always thought there was always that speculation that he was faking it at that point. I think I might have mentioned that, but after that, we just kind of left it because, who's going to dig that deep? But he did. He did. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Good for Rattle.
So we'll see. Good luck to him. I figure it's one of those things where he's going to have to figure it out for himself in terms of what he's going to do. I know he's got his GoFundMe thing going on, and hopefully that's enough if that takes care of what he's looking for.
So fill me in exactly what is why is he being sued? Because he said something, did something.
This is pretty big.
I haven't.
Give him a quick synopsis. Give him the cliff notes.
So I only caught a little bit of it. Basically, what happened was one of the folks he talked about. So I'll see if I can pull up the video here, just so you guys can check it out. If I find the appropriate one, I'll include a link to it in the description.
I've talked about a lot of people. Am I going to start getting sued?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hopefully.
Awesome.
Only hope.
That's how you know you made it.
Yeah, we have to assume at some point.
Guaranteed YouTube Hall of Fame if I get sued.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
That's how you.
So I'll quickly go over. So I'll show you guys just so you can see, and then because I got sent this as well, so I did see it, but I only caught a little bit of it. So Bob Wilson says trading card president G.O.A.T. Wilson should pardon him. Well, he might have spent all his money on the card shop. He might not have the ability to pardon him anymore. he might not be able to afford the paperwork to pardon him. So so it was this guy, Sean Bassick here, is the one who sued him. And basically, it was pertaining to a lot of the videos he had made about his specific situation. I think he's a card trimmer or something like that. Basically, it's that kind of issue. And then the guy decided to set up a lawsuit, basically saying that he's being defamed, kind of that kind of a lawsuit. And
defamation.
in the video, he goes over various components of it, pieces where he disagrees with it. Now, I will say this: this video is kind of the point that I will make about it. It's your choice how you want to approach it, but what's the first thing a lawyer tells you when you're doing a lot of these stuff is they say, okay, so here's what you can say, here's what you can't say, here's what's worth saying, here's what's not worth saying. So that's why I would wonder if, because he's got the GoFundMe, I wonder if he's already figured out his representation or if it's something he's working out. Because I would figure the first thing the lawyer would do is be like, okay, so listen, you want to talk about it? Give the bare minimum. This video is 1 hour and 15 minutes. I don't consider that to be the bare minimum. No. I would like at a high, you can talk about it at a high level and still get your point across and do whatever.
He's fortifying his case.
Yeah. The bottom line is that I heard about it. I caught a little bit just to catch the tail leader. I gotta be honest, I can't watch 75 minutes of this.
It is hard. It's nice to get the overview, which is fine. But if you're really into it and you have nothing else to watch, it's great.
Is he
but then there's the Logan Paul thing too, right?
$75,000, $1 million. What's he suing him for?
It was for, what was it? I want to say it was for. Well, I want to say it was like for. It was either 6 or 7. It was either high 6 or 7 figures. It was for a lot. It would be for enough to financially cripple him. So there's no doubt about that. So here is the GoFundMe that's involved. So I'll give you a link to the original video, and if you want to check out the GoFundMe, it's still there. It's available for you. So here it is, $100,000 goal. He's had 76 donations, $100,000 goal, and he's raised $3,206.
Yippee!
So I think I'll be honest. I think it's going to be tough. Not because there aren't people who are supportive of what he does. Because during the whole Logan Paul case, we used a lot of the Rattle Pokemon videos because there was a lot of very good content about the case and giving some background on it. So it's good content and it's good information. But people are cheap. Like realistically, there are a lot of folks who are like, oh man, yeah, I'll hit the like button for you. I'll subscribe to your channel, but I'm not giving you a dime. And also, I saw in the comments section already, there are a couple of people like, $100,000? It's not going to cost $100,000 to get a lawyer. It's like, dude, I'm not going to spend time having that argument with anybody. I have no idea what it would cost for that. And again, I don't know about the cross-jurisdictional thing. I have no idea what it'd be in Canada for a US-based lawsuit. So that you need somebody who understands the nuance of that and is able to work with you on representing you for that particular thing and giving you good advice. That's really what you're looking for. You're looking for good advice and someone who understands the nuance so they can represent you appropriately. That's it. He's
also going in deep on the Logan Paul and how that was all, faked out too. So he's really dug into that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen that. You got to look at that. That's pretty crazy. Was it all fixed? Was that all fixed for promotion? We don't know.
I just assumed Eric was behind it. That was my original concept.
Behind everything.
But you got to look at that video too, because that's really something where he goes into Logan Paul and the Pokemon case and what happened and what was going on and was this really a real deal or not? That's a big one. You got to get into that one, guys. It's good.
I think it plays into the Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock storyline.
Pretty.
I think it's part of it. Yeah. So bottom line, I will include a link to the Rattle Pokemon video. If you got 1 hour and 15 minutes, you want to go through it, he does go through it in painstaking detail, I assure you. So if you're curious and want to check it out, and if you do want to contribute to the GoFundMe page, it is in the description of that video. If you want to check it out, you will be able to see it there, and you can do whatever you wish. Best of luck to him. Obviously, we'll have to see. We will see what comes forward of it. I did get that link this week, so it was a fair call out to mention it. So thank you, Bobby.
We wish him the best of luck,
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, it's one of those situations where I appreciate what he does, but it's like, nah, I'm kind of in the camp. It's like, good luck, dude.
I'm not tapping into my allowance that my wife gives, send money to him.
Sadness.
It wouldn't be from you, it'd be from your wife.
Sure. No, but it would be that comes out of my allowance. I'm not giving up. Yeah, I'm not giving up that little
What part
problem.
don't you get?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I get $20 a week. I am not going to be giving that away.
Hell no.
Amazing. Stuke says, I still have to share my Guelph Maple Leafs baseball content, as you should. As you should. I support Carlos wholeheartedly, probably $5 worth. I appreciate
You're
you.
overpaying.
Silence, Eric, or I'm doubling your like button fee.
Oh, God.
JW Fulcher says, more exciting than the HQ Breaks channel. It's hard to be, it's not hard to be less exciting than the HQ Breaks channel. Like that the struggle is real. I don't know. Let's see what today looked like. I'm kind of curious now. You got me kind of questioning it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so hold on here. Let's see.
I
gotta find the stupid HQ card breaks. What's the stupid thing called? By the way, I do recommend that they change the name of the stupid channel, because I have to try to figure out what the stupid channel's name is, and it should be really easy. And I'm not subscribing to it because God no, but like I should be able to find it in 12 seconds. No, it's Breaker channel. It's Breaker, not HQ Breaks. Breaker.
You didn't get HG in there?
Oh, here it is. I got it. It's the Cards HQ Breaker Arena. Jesus, that's a terrible name.
Wow.
Y'all, that's a terrible name.
The tongue, doesn't it?
That's a terrible name.
Bobby, we don't have time to watch yet another breaking channel. I mean, we're up.
Honestly.
You and I are up to like 7, 8 a day.
You need to simul screen them. That's the key. Simul screen them. Watching Cards HQ as KM is one step ahead of watching Sea Monkeys, probably.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So for the sake of this conversation, just for fun, I'm going to do this. I'm literally not going to play like a big chunk of this, but I'm going to do something for you guys here. Okay. So I'm going to share this. Here's the channel. Okay. Cards HQ Breaker Arena. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the one from today that ended 2 hours ago. So this is a 4.5 hour video. Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to click on it.
Whole thing? Okay.
We could. But what I'm going to do instead, is I'm turning it on here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scrub ahead to the first time there is a human being on the screen. So I'm just scanning ahead, 20 minutes in. Here, hold on. I'm clicking on it. It looks like people are about to come into the picture. There you go. There's people.
2 kids.
No,
this is 20 minutes in.
That's children.
I understand.
They're just playing in the chairs.
Yeah, I understand. So now I'm going to skip ahead to the next time we see human life. So I'm skipping ahead. I'm at 40 minutes. I don't see human life. Like, look, I'm clicking here. 40 minutes. I don't see human life. Hold on. I see a humanoid. Here it is. A person at 46 minutes. Okay, great. Now I'm going to skip ahead. Let's move on. Next time we see a person. By the way, this is on a Friday.
I want to see what he gets. Shiny.
Chrome baseball, yes. These are sapphire.
Of course they are.
I don't. Are those goalies? I don't understand.
That one's
goalies aren't people, Eric.
Purpley.
Goalies aren't.
That's true. That's true.
So let's move on here.
You know how much fun this is? This is
listen, without a doubt, it's a barrel.
You can't open a pack like the skill level.
Okay, so next one here is another kid, and this is at 1:25. 1:25.
Oh, please pick your nose. I want to see him pick his nose. Come on, stick that finger up there.
Now here, this is now 1 hour and 47 minutes. Then hold on. Okay, there's a Breaker Arena break graphic. Why? All right, whatever. Moving on.
Okay.
So after that, it's the same kids here. I think it's the same ones or whatever. Let's see, moving forward. What else we got? Some more kids. I think it's the same one of the same ones. I'm moving ahead.
Pick that nose. Here
you go.
Nose.
So you got a father and son at 2 hours and 52 minutes at a 4.5 hour. There's actually some people watching. Heaven forbid. You can actually see in the bottom corner there.
Yeah.
There's human beings. So there you go. You got that going for you. Let's see. Skip ahead. What's the next time I see people?
Well, that's like 4 boxes so far.
Yep. So here.
We're a little light on the 15K, but we're getting there. 7, 8, 9. Wow. Yeah.
And here it is at 4 hours and 14 minutes. And let me see. Is there any other people? And that's the end of it. Nope. There isn't another living person for the rest of this video.
Is
Can we watch it again? Can we watch it again?
Yeah. Oh, Eric,
yesterday or today?
This is today. It finished streaming. It started 7 hours ago. So
It's
this
Friday.
right here, 208 views, 8 likes.
And $3 million later in Atlanta. Shut up.
You didn't hit the like button.
I did not.
Oh, yeah.
I did not.
He might need a GoFundMe.
Yeah, probably. That's probably where all the money went that Rattle Pokemon needed. JW Fulcher says, "Oh my God, thanks. No worries." Reminds me of surveillance footage of abandoned building. But so look, so jokes aside, the problem was, and this is why I said the Sports Car Radio guys, I got what they're saying, but here's the problem. This particular YouTube channel, it makes no sense. It's pointless. It's worthless content. And the reason I say that is that it's in one specific spot where people have to specifically go, and the shot of the crowd, whatever, is literally a wall that blocks off the store.
Yep.
So you can't see the activity in the store anyway. So if nobody is there breaking anything, then it's useless. Like, why is it even there? I don't give a shit. But good for the people that want to. Hey, I was on YouTube. Well, then go find it in your 4.5 hours scrub like I just did until you find yourself. And then you can live the dream.
On YouTube are losers.
They need to upgrade their software with the smart searches, right? How to become a paid extra at the Cards HQ Breaking Arena channel? I don't know, man.
There's money in that. Then you go next door, get the wings, freebies.
CC says, "This ridiculous. Cards HQ live streaming someone ripping his cool, but posting a 4-hour video, mostly nothing." The thing is, it was a live stream. It was the 4-hour video is just the live stream. They turned it on, left it on, and turned it off at the end of it.
And weren't those kids supposed to be in school?
There'd be no school in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, yes.
Where the hell are Cabana boys? Those families surely need fresh beverages. True. There you go. Ty says he hit the like button, so at least somebody did. Simon here says the Breaker Arena is not meant to make good content. I'm not suggesting it is. It's marketing to help sell more wax. I don't think it works for that either.
Yeah. How many people?
So I agree. I agree with your first statement. The Breaker Arena is not meant to make good content. I agree with your first statement. I concur. It is marketing to help sell more wax. Not doing a great job.
No.
That was kind of trash for that purpose as well.
Yeah.
But I agree with your first statement.
How many
views? First statement, we're in a complete alignment.
29 views? Something.
Well, no, it's 208 views. People probably were curious. People are probably curious. They were like, I wonder if anything's happening. They click on it. Oh, nothing's happening. Click off.
That'll probably sell a box or two.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, it was good marketing. That's fair. That's fair. I concur. I agree. But yeah, it's like I said, what I need to see. Look, I can make fun of this till the cows come home, and I will. But for now, what I'm more interested in, like I said, if this Sunday, I guess on Whatnot or whatever platform it is, if they're actually going to start live selling, I want to see live selling. I want to see real box breaking where you actually have somebody that you hired to do the job who is actually doing the job. I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what that sells. That's what I'm curious about. This Breaker Arena bullshit, I don't care. It's irrelevant. It's a waste of my time. I want to see the actual people you hired to do it in your little booths, your pods. Let's see what that presentation looks like. Let's see where you put it. That's what I want to see. That's what we'll find out the truth. And I want to see how successful they are, how much of the stuff sells out. I also want to see the live selling. I want to see who's doing the live selling. Do you use your fancy little cart? You do a little roll cart. That's what I want to see. That's what I need you to show me. Right now, it's nothing.
The card has a name. It's Puppy Monkey Baby.
We need to put it on the side of it on a big old label. It's kind of like a continuous stream of a fire pit. That's true. That's true.
And then every once in a while, like you're watching the fire pit or the
yeah,
and all of a sudden you hear that crackling.
The fireplace.
Well, wait. So Eric, in my past life, I told you. Do you think? In my past life, I told you I worked at a satellite television company, and part of my job was to be there for technical support. People would literally call and say, "Hey, is the fire log channel on?" During the holidays, there would be a channel they would put on the fireplace.
Yep.
And what would happen is it would be a loop, but on the loop, occasionally somebody would like stoke the fire or like move a couple of the logs or something. That was the action.
How did that extra log get in there? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like,
the aquarium
really, guys?
Too.
Okay. Yeah,
I
208
like
divided $3 million store, yes. So real question, do you think Cards HQ will succeed? Okay, so I'm happy to answer this question, and I think it's a fair question.
I think we already said that 5 times already.
But
No,
what
but
is
here's the thing.
definition of succeed? Is it going to fold in 6 months and that's a failure, or is it going to fold in 3 years?
So
What is-
Brad threw out like a 5-year as his number.
Yeah.
I think if look, I'll tell you what, I'll set a definition for me. Right now, we're in the year 2024 of Lord, the content gods.
Mhm.
We're in the year 2024. That shop needs to be open this time in 2027 for me to be considered successful. I don't care by hook or by crook or whatever nonsense he has to pull. You need to still be alive in 3 years, 3 full cycles of the calendar. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say at some point, the fact that they really are not, it's like they're taking it seriously and not like I said, I'm being serious, not activating the web presence fully, properly from the get-go, get sales online, get shit shipped out. It's like you're not serious. So you're joking. I don't give a crap about your store. I said it earlier, but I'm being serious. I don't give a shit about your store. I'm not going to it. So it doesn't matter how nice it is. You want to sell product? Here's the thing. I guarantee you, if there's something that I want for my collection in one of your stupid little showcases, and you
I'll
make
go
it
on eBay.
possible for me to see it and buy it, I'll buy it. If the price is right and if the situation makes sense and whatever. But even if I wanted to say that, Bobby, how would I know? Right now, I can't see it. So if I
That's why
can't
you go to
access it and I
eBay.
can't see it, how do you expect me to buy it?
That's why you go to eBay.
I understand, Bobby, but what I'm getting at is maybe the copy on eBay is above comps. Maybe the one in the store is actually at comps, which is a better price for me. So maybe I would buy it from Cards HQ if they made it available to me at that price. But
how do you
how
know?
are we
Do you
going
have
to
stock?
know?
How do you
Yeah,
go?
how are we going to know if I can't buy it?
You
Because
have
if
to
I'm not
fly
in the store,
into
how am I going to see it?
International airport
That's right.
and then get your
So
box.
I'm
and
going
fly
to
back.
say right now there is nothing that I have seen that would suggest to me it'll still be there in 3 years. Because I've decided that's my definition of success, my answer will be no. Based on that criteria.
In as for sports cards being that part of the success opposed to other business, yeah, I don't really see it being overly successful. It may still be there, but I don't think that part of it will be successful. I don't think you can really. I don't even know why you would have so much space. Like you would have a smaller plate, half the size at least, and it would be more, I think, user friendly to him, and then he could do all the other stuff and breaks and what have you.
Now, I guess now here's a question: would it still count if Cards HQ still existed, but they ended up subdividing the space into multiple things and sublease some of the space?
No. Then it's sort of like what happened to Legends there in downtown.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like
they
Legends
were
was still
in
there for a
business,
little
but
while.
They were a shell of what they were not even before.
They
So they were
were.
just hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
Best part is you get a coffee right next door.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So they technically were still around a little while longer, but that wasn't the same Legends that was there before.
Different, completely.
Zach says 47 watching, 23 likes. What are we doing? Gotta hit the like
Stop
button,
helping,
guys.
Zach.
We judge
Yeah.
Eric.
Stop
Thank you,
helping.
Zach. We need some help. Maybe they're waiting. The good news is, unlike Rattle Pokemon's watch along, it's actually free to hit the like button. Live the dream. Stuke says maybe they're waiting to hire a few people to fill the online positions. Notice they have jobs posted on the website. That's possible, but I'm saying, in my opinion, I would have at least had some. Like you could have soft launched it. You could have started a small store.
Sure. At least
have a couple of people. Like, yeah, I'm not saying have the full operation fully loaded on day one. I'm not being unreasonable, but I'm saying, like, guys, this is going to have to be part of the business. You need at least something ready to go. Flip the on switch, even if it's 2 or 3 guys at the start. They can ship out a couple of packages at first, get that ball rolling, start the momentum, get the process.
Everybody, went there, viewed it, and then now we're going to bring this in later after the fact. Where's the inertia there? You lose it.
I agree. Card HQ may succeed, but all the bells and whistles may be gone or changed. Yeah. They might have to strip out a lot of that. Sports Radio said best. Jeff Wilson has many yes men around him. It just gets carried away. Further center field was at the further away than the center field was at the Polo Grounds. Ooh, a Polo Grounds reference.
So what is the bell and what is the whistle there?
The cart is one of them. You choose.
It is. That's the bell.
Mhm.
The whistle.
Hello.
Echo. It's the echo in there.
Agreed. If Cards HQ is Amazon like, it would make it successful. If not, bye-bye. That's what I'm saying. If it was me, I would have as many online verticals going as possible. Every version of it. I would have a ComC store. I have an eBay store. I'd have all that stuff. I want all those things activated as soon as you can get them going.
Actually, shouldn't he have opened those first and then open the store?
Yes. Yes, Bobby. Yes. That's been like that's like my underlying point. It's like, yes.
Get things
Before
going,
you even
and
hit the start on
then
the store, you should have gotten it going. Yes. All right, so here's Bob Jackson giving you a little concern. Eric, how's the recovery going?
Well, Bob, thank you. I appreciate your concern. I wish I was in recovery. My surgery is going to be on the 22nd. So I am sitting here pretty much being uncomfortable, a little bit of pain. Sitting isn't too bad. I can't stand for more than 3 minutes, but sitting isn't too bad. But I'm definitely looking forward to laying down when the show's over. After the 22nd, hopefully I'll be feeling a lot better.
But your breakdancing career may still be over.
It's over.
I hope not. I just got some new cardboard. I really want to break it in.
Well, they got a new TV 2 blocks down, so he picked up the cardboard off the front there and painted.
Yep.
The good stuff too, not the cheap.
No. This is a good thick stuff. It's gonna last a while.
Actually, speaking of that, I was with Carlos Senior at Costco the other day because he needed to do some shopping, and I went by there and I saw like one of the 77-inch TVs, and I'm like, I kind of want it. And I was like, no. But it's like, I got to tell you, the picture on it looks primo. I was like, oh, that's impressive.
And they always tape the nice looking stuff that looks good, and then you get it home and realize that, I didn't know it was only 781p. So, oh shit.
Well, yeah, you have to have. It's not just having a nice
HDMI.
TV. You've got to have HDMI, yes, but if you really want to get the right, whatever you're feeding into it has to be that level of HD to really get the value. Otherwise, it's whatever your material is. The material has to be of quality to get the picture to show what you want to see. CC says, by all accounts, Burbank is super successful. They sell a ton of cards through eBay. Very interested to see how Cards HQ fares selling through streaming. I like that it says streaming, but streaming, yes, versus listing on sites like eBay. No, I agree. But that's why I say, like, to me, Burbank already proved that you didn't, again, in traditional G.O.A.T fashion, he decided to run for everything all at once, and he tried to do this whole thing. Burbank started off as a tiny store that built to a bigger store, that built to a bigger store, that eventually became a store and a warehouse. The warehouse still holds the bulk of the material, but stuff's selling constantly. So one way or the other, warehouse space is less expensive than retail showroom space. So you can get a bigger space and put all the cards in there. And guess what? You can send your people whose only job is there to go and sort through everything and get your cards for you and get them shipped out. Like I have bought internationally through Canada. I've bought stuff from Burbank that I've had shipped directly to me. They're pretty good. They do have they have a flat shipping rate for me. They get it shipped this way, and I receive it within a fairly reasonable period of time. So they pick the cards, they put the package together, and send it out. Not bad.
All the time.
Yeah, it's like their showroom is packed with stuff.
It is.
It's not.
They've made it into a destination for themselves.
It's like, their stuff.
The brand, they've built a brand there in the West Coast. They've got a brand. They've got now the card show and all these things that they've got going for them now. But it took years to build the foundation to have that in there. But they didn't start off with a 14,000 square foot showroom.
No.
So it's like, all right, whatever you got, whatever you want to do, my man. It's your money. Have at it. Can't imagine they can sell the volume needed. I very much doubt it.
No.
So Jeff Geoff is a producer, thinks he created the Titanic, but he's actually Emmanuel in space. Did you look it up, Eric?
No, I don't want to, and I still don't know what it is.
Turn off safe search and search for Emmanuel.
My mother watches this show. I'm not going to talk about this.
Don't type that in.
Jeff says they will pay 80% store credit or 70% cash. Does that seem high? If you want to have decent margins, yes. There you go. Hope Cards HQ succeeds would help the hobby grow incrementally. I don't know if it would help the hobby. Look, I'm in the camp where here's the thing. I don't think it helps or hurts. I don't think it matters that much. In the grand scheme of things. I think for now, for the content, for the entertainment value, it's tremendous. It's great that it's there. I think it's succeeding or failing is not going to change the hobby at one iota. Sorry, Jeff, this isn't going to revolutionize retail. Sorry, Jeff, we're not going to be studying it. Unless it's a Hindenburg-like ending. If it's a Hindenburg-like ending, then yes, we'll study it.
Yes.
But if it's still around in 3 years, good for you. We're not going to speak.
I saw what you did there.
I did. And it was what? Chef's kiss.
It was. And all those people flying into the international airport aren't going to randomly go there and start collecting cards because Cards HQ is there. I don't see it. Who's going to go? Oh,
they got to expand to the airport, man. I'm telling you. Can you imagine
they can get 15,000 square feet and kind of reach the airport, and they can just walk through. Yeah.
Imagine having a card show at the airport. How would that not be successful?
Well, Bobby's consistent railing on Atlanta might be hurting things. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just saying. The Burrell is quite the influencer.
Just the fact that it's in Atlanta is hurting it, but I'm just saying. Yeah, on top
see what I'm saying, Eric? The Burrell is quite the influencer, and he's hating on Atlanta pretty hard.
What about a card shop at the Toronto International Airport?
It would be a failure because do you know how to park and get in there? You know, when someone asks you to pick you up there, it's like, oh fuck.
Eric, I think as someone who lives in Southern Ontario, it might be easier for me to go to a different airport and fly into Toronto International Airport as an easier way of getting to the shop than getting through by vehicle.
I've only flown in and out of there once, and that was in '99, so I really don't remember.
I'm just saying it might be easier to fly in.
It's just complicated to get to, and there's no parking. Where are you going to park?
Well, Bobby, obviously what we would do is we go to Billy Bishop Airport and then we fly out of Billy Bishop
right from there. Yeah.
Fly in. Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yep. If his door is so busy to start, maybe he's holding inventory for the store to start. New wears off and he'll move more online. He should be moving online now. That's my only point. Yeah. Bob Oozle says, consider going to chiropractor, Eric. Help ease the pain temporarily. So the problem is that Eric likes to participate in cyclocross, which unfortunately he didn't understand was a blood sport of the future. And this has been a tremendous surprise for him. Almost as shocking as when he first Googled Emmanuel in space.
I have never Googled that. I'm not planning.
Or so you claim.
Anyway,
your search history tells a different story, sir.
Don't do it.
Been to a chiropractor for many years. This is not fixable in that way. This isn't an adjustment situation. I
get a second opinion.
You've seen the MRI. That's a mess. That thing needs to get surgically repaired.
Bobby, we get ourselves a hammer and some silly putty, and we can probably fix that thing in like a couple of minutes.
A little bit of caulking.
Or make it worse in ways you never even imagined.
At this point.
Let's see here. He's laundering money through it. Chess checkers, boys. Chess. Hey, listen, I'd respect it.
He'll be walking as the patron monkey baby.
As the patron saint of shadiness that I am, and that shadiness is my birthright, I would at least applaud it. It will be there past 2030. Average Joe card collector has the faith.
Wow. All right.
More like a mousetrap. All right. How about the cross-border tariffs when you buy through Burbank? It's not too bad because usually I'm not buying super expensive stuff. So even if they declare it fully, which they generally do, they'll fill in the thing and declare it. If I'm buying like $5-10 cards in a decent handful, because it is flat rate shipping. If I'm buying just a handful, though, it's not so bad. Obviously, you're gonna get hit up with tariffs automatically. You're gonna pay because they will fill out the sheet and then you'll get charged. But as long as they
see those guys work in the back there, okay, get me this card and all these 10 cards. He's just got them running around doing 40.
See, 50 that's a video feed people would actually watch.
I would. Filling Carlos's order, shoot, all over the place.
Yeah, it's like, why would anyone want? So wait, did you see that those are physically the furthest cards from each other? That was all the way at the end of the warehouse over there in the corner, beside the dead body down there. Well, actually, once upon a time, I was at my buddy when I was in university. Went to York University, and I don't know if you've ever been to York University, Bobby.
Yep.
The
Many
library
times.
they have. I went up in the building in the inside of it. There's a section there, and no joke, it was farming statistics. This was the section that they had there. But it was weird because the building wasn't in the normal way. The way that the edge just went in and the way the shelves were set up. I was sitting there and I was really looking at it the way the shelves were confined. And the area had clearly not too many people go in to check out farming statistics. And I was like, you could literally kill someone and just leave the body here for months. And no one would know with the way this corner is set up. Like no one sees it. There's a blind spot from everything.
Is that at the south side or the north side?
It's been years now, but I forget. But I just remember walking by. I literally looked like
right
this,
or left
at this corner that was
left?
shut down.
Because the
I'm
second
not sure
floor,
wherever
you
the
go up
farming
stairs.
statistics were.
Yeah, actually, you have Consummate Archives in there. I went there with the I forget what the sir. You know,
Did you like the subway escalator?
Yeah, there was no subway escalator there. It was actually
there was when I was
the
there. There was literally an escalator that literally looked like it was just to the subway, and I was like, "Why is this here? Why would you have this kind of an escalator? Like, I've literally only seen this in the subway. It's weird."
Was that the way it was connected to the back? Must have been.
I think so, yeah. Basically, at the time, it was off the university center. It was just bizarre. I just found the whole place bizarre.
Yeah, there's
What
like
is Emmanuel in space? Ask Eric. Is the new documentary in space XXX? Maybe. Hindenburg level of study? Nay, I want a JFK assassination level of study. Magic bully theory included. The Zapruder film, A Man of Culture. G.O.A.T is building the plane while it's in the air. He sees it as innovation, while seemingly everyone's sense of logic and sensibility is getting a humorous chuckle out of this dumpster fire. Valid. It's a valid comp. Admire of what, Eric? What did it show?
All right,
it showed he's comprised of 87% chocolate sticks.
All right, I'll show this. People seem to be somewhat interested.
That's your call.
So this is my spine. The white line that you'll see is my nerves, and you will see that is flat. Oh, god damn it.
Gotta be careful not to actually touch the screen.
I don't know. I'm trying, guys. Anyway, you'll see that the top two are flat against the nerve root, which is the white thing that's going down my spine. And then you'll see one that's completely blown out and is pressing against the nerves. And that is what is causing me so much pain.
This is inside Eric.
Yep, that's inside me. So
what is he gonna do?
I gotta shave that part down to make it flat like the top two. So it's not pressing against the nerve root. So it totally blew out, and they got to go in there and fix it.
Or alternative, Bobby, we go with the hammers and the silly putty.
It's cheaper.
We offered. Let's go here. The music blasting cards HQ is just too much. Fair enough. Can we do Eric's operation, the cards HQ breaking arena? Yes. I'd love to see him scoop out the mail.
Oh, come on.
We could be like Spicoli and go, hey, listen, my dad's a television repairman. We can fix it.
Zach says, GF wants to accept defeat. I see him selling the shop or announcing he's stepping away to work on another business, and his connection to the shop just fades away. There's still time to get back on the NFT bandwagon, Geoff. There's still time.
Right.
You might sell it out to Fanatics.
Ooh.
This is
Maybe
all
surgical disc. You can sit on a lot of those, but that one's pretty big. Might be a good candidate for a microdiscectomy.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
There you go. Perhaps not a doctor, but plays one in the chat.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Not much to say, but I mean, we got through a couple good hours here. 3 almost. Amazing.
Yep.
Basketball. Joff.
We got a lot of mileage on basketball, man. All this considered, I was actually kind of impressed.
Yeah.
So, folks, I'm going to propose the question to you. There's actually still a fair number of you hanging out. So, you guys tell me, hobby news-wise, there's not much going on. Like I said, we had the Rattle Pokemon thing, but that isn't really news. It's just unfortunate for him, but good luck to him. The Cards HQ thing, my interest will be Sunday. That's what I want to find out. I want to find out what happens on Sunday. They activate the live selling. That'll be interesting for me. But otherwise, there's nothing to note. So we'll see. Otherwise, I was looking and I was like, yeah, we've still got weeks before the 79 O-Pee-Chee case is sold. So that's still a while from now. We'll find out what the final number is, but we can make our predictions like a week out. There's still
I
plenty
like
of
the
time for that.
prediction actually now is like, do you think it's a single buy or a group buy? Is the question.
I would think it'd be a group buy. I don't see why, especially if, so I'll use Brad's assertion as one example. If we've got the person who is going to open a couple of the boxes, if you had a group, it would probably make more sense than to get a group of people, because then you could be like, all right, I'm going to take a couple of the ones that I'm going to open. I've got a couple I'll have sealed, and then you break it up in pieces.
Break it at Cards HQ.
Ooh, there you go.
Now, wouldn't that create something? I think with having 16 boxes out there at 200K, I think it would drop in their value as we get to the 6th or 7th box, 8th box, somewhere around there. Because after a while, this rare Gretzky becomes, oh, they're breaking another box. Okay. Got another Gretzky 7. Okay. There you
go. People are still obviously talking about that whole, 79 find the, case. And even he's not here, so I can't beat him up too much, but even on Name's podcast, they talked a little bit about it. And that's a basketball podcast, and they were talking about this. So, people are very interested in it. More
news when nothing's going on, right?
More so than I thought people would be interested in.
Well, what Bobby's saying though is true though, Eric. So real quick, I'll touch on one thing. I'll read a couple of comments here just to get caught up, but I'll touch on one thing related to this case and also exactly what you were just talking about. So Will here says, "Let's talk politics, Carlos. Politics." Absolutely, you start, and then I'm going to hit the button, and then you go bye. But you start. Whatever. By the way, whatever you believe in politically, you're an idiot. But Carlos, it doesn't matter. It really would have made no difference.
There you go.
It would have made no difference. Your team is trash.
Yes. All teams.
I have a Mush March hockey skate box with a decal with March pictured. Should cut the decal off the box, and should I cut the decal off the box and keep the box intact?
Yeah, that Mush March, it's kind of cool. I think you can peel it off actually, but yeah, if you don't want the whole box, it's nice to have that, just that, and display it. Put it top loader. Be nice.
I don't even know who Mush March is.
Mush March. He's a hockey player from the 40s. Okay. It is a skate box with a little bit
pie,
of a, kind of,
but it is what it is.
Yep. If you would know.
Paul sees any of the fractional ownership groups, and maybe if Eric had the app, he'd find out. Paul C says, any of the fractional ownership groups still kicking around? Well, let's kick at the cap of the 879 case. Listen, the consortium of Bougie Eric Esquire and Company. I think that's the most likely candidate. So so let me touch on kind of what Bobby was saying, your concept as well. Part of the reason why I think that there is a little bit more fixation on some of the stories like this. At the end of the day, it's a 79 O-Pee-Chee case. That's cool and all, but it's just a case. It's whatever. I think part of the reason, though, is that, yeah, things have quieted down. A lot of the stuff that was going on before. But here's the irony of it. And I had the same thing with the video that I had on this week. I had some 53 Bowman color cards come in that are part of my set. I feel like collecting-wise, things are hitting on all cylinders, but it's what I touched on in the podcast as well. I was like, I haven't made too many videos outside of the live streams and the podcast episodes. And the reason is because there really isn't a lot of news to talk about that I think is particularly interesting. If I do want to talk any about it, I've got this venue and I've got the podcast venue. And I feel like at that point, I've gotten my fill and said everything I wanted to say. And then what's the point of making another video?
I don't know.
You got a problem, Eric?
Just with a certain person.
Just one?
Oh
yeah, Eric has many enemies.
No,
it's for the first gold.
No. It's the enemy.
What's your problem with the enemy? He's a good coach.
Jackass.
So's Mayo.
Yeah, true. Mayo's pretty good. But that's the thing, though. Like, I find it interesting because, yeah, a lot of the news stories that look, a year ago, 2 years ago, we were spoiled for news choices. We could go from one story to another story to another story to another story, but even the stuff we're talking about, even if this case sells for like a record price, it's like, okay, we'll talk about it for like a couple of minutes. But like, I think
What is a
everyone's become
record price
desensitized.
though? Because no other.
Look, it could be, Bobby. It could be like I don't know what a record price would be for it, but look, let me give you a stupid number just for the hell of it. If it sells for 25 million, we're all going to look at it and go, why? It won't be like, oh my god, it sold for 25 million. It's going to change everyone. No, it's going to be like, why?
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 It did this and why? That's going to be your entire discussion. It's like, what idiot did this and why?
Yeah.
So that box has been sitting there that long. If they would have found it like 2 years earlier,
yes.
Oh
absolutely.
my god! Can
It
you?
would have
imagine?
been
crazy.
tremendous.
Oh, it'd be insane.
As it is, it's still a lot of money. Let's get it. Let's get it. Still a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
But 2 years ago, it would have been tremendous. It would have been huge, and it would have been a bigger story.
And I say now that if you open it, you're a fool. Because I've thought about this. We've discussed it a couple of times.
You thought about it. Go on.
Yeah, and we did some
preliminary
the maths, which usually I am very much against, and we said that with the 25 to 30 Gretzkys that you might find in there, and say they're all sevens, you're looking at $220,000.
They all won't be sevens. They'll be sixes.
Right.
They'll be eights.
But
there might be a 9 or 2.
It's right. Jump up, but up and down. So we just average it out.
Okay.
So you're looking at $220,000 doing some, flexible math. If you crack that case and crack those boxes looking for those Gretzkys, you have just lost money. The 2 million plus is for the unopened, because it's been opened, unopened case. As soon as you open it and start cracking those boxes, with every box you open, you are losing money. Because there's nothing else in there except the Gretzky rookies that you could go out and get for $220,000 graded. Why are you spending $2 million in opening it?
It's the thrill of the chase. It's not the kill.
No, but this time the chase is having something unique and having an unopened case sitting there and saying that you're the one that owns it. That's the chase. You have something very, very unique, something that is heavily Gretzky oriented.
Yep.
And that's where the money is.
Yes.
As soon as you open that up, you are throwing your money away.
Well, the wrappers are still worth $20, $25 each now, where they were like $80 each.
You're downplaying one thing though, Eric. You are forgetting one thing. If we consider, and I'm being like half facetious and half serious, so just bear that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You are forgetting the personal thrill that is being able to simply say that I have so much money that I don't give a fuck and I can do this. And literally being able to lure that. I was like, well, it's unique. Yeah, that's why I'm going to open it, fuckers.
Yeah.
And then like record it and do whatever you want. Like you've got so much money, you don't care.
I would love to have I don't give a fuck money, but that ain't not my situation.
Like, if I had billions of dollars, why wouldn't I just take, art pieces and burn them?
Yeah.
Like, because I can. It's like, but you paid $500 million for that. Yes, I did. Yeah, it's like I think I tipped someone like a couple of million yesterday.
And you're correct. You're 100% correct. But if you really are into this as a collector and even as an investor,
an investor,
yeah, and not just some idiot. As soon as you open that up, the uniqueness of what you paid for is oh, fuck him. Jesus Christ. So yeah, there's the enemy right there. That guy. So lose my phone number. Stop harassing me, jerk. So again, you open that, you have now gotten rid of this unique Gretzky item that very, 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 very few people have. People have boxes. People have open boxes. People have unopened wrappers, packs. People, People have Gretzky cards. As soon as you open that case, you have what hundreds and then thousands and then millions of other people have. But as long as you keep it closed, you have something very, very unique. There are only a couple of people have. And that's where the money's at. So that's my opinion. Go ahead, laugh at me. See if I care. Bigger people than you have laughed at me. All right. Yeah. You're nothing. Bigger people than you have laughed at me. Thank you very much.
Oh, Boobior. Yes.
I'm not caring about anything.
I appreciate Carlos clarifying as being fat facetious, half serious if it wasn't his tone the whole time. No, most of the time, I'm being 98% facetious or 98% serious. Most of the time, the ratio is really skewed one way or the other. It's never 100% either or. Yeah, but in that particular case, it was 50-50. It's actually rare that I go 50-50 right down the middle. That's the reason I felt the need to clarify that point, because most of the time it's 98% one way or the other. I let you decide which is which. In that context, the entire show makes both more and less sense. They should change the term Karen to Eric. Probably true. That seems like a fair thing to do.
Paul, I hope it's so cold. I hope it's so cold wherever you are. I hope it is so cold.
So much anger, Bougier. So much anger. Terrible. Just terrible.
I tried to be the bastion of positivity this year, but they bring out the worst in me.
Sounds to me like you're making excuses. Try to look something up here.
You know what, Paul? Did I ever tell you what Paul did to me at the expo?
Well, the thing that we can speak about legally, or the thing that we cannot speak about for legal reasons?
The legal one. We can't. We're not allowed to talk about that other one.
Yeah, that's verboten. Unfortunately, you have to turn off the save search, the same as Emmanuel in space.
You took a blood pact that we wouldn't even bring it up. Okay, so you're on a thin line. Now, he knows that I was looking for some things up there in the old expo. So he starts texting me saying, "Hey, I found this over here." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Where?" And he's like trying to get me to come look at something. Come to find out, made the whole thing up. He was just messing with me.
Yeah. Seems right.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm trying to go up the aisles and down the aisles and up the aisles and down the aisles and looking for what I'm supposed to be looking at, minding my own business. And all of a sudden, my phone starts dinging and it's him going, "Oh, hey, come on over here. I just found this for like $20 and you got to come over here and check." He made the whole thing up. It wasn't there.
Seems fair. Seems about the right thing to do.
No, he's the jackass.
Timothy Smith says, "I would like to add a Medano card to start a hockey collection. Which do you feel is the better card? 90 or Upper Deck or Peachy Premier?" So if those are my two options, I prefer the Upper Deck one. The Peachy Premier is the one that costs a little bit more, but they're not expensive. Now, I would say if you want like a slightly tougher card, I would look at the 90 Bowman or 90 Topps Tiffany. But if we're talking about between those two, because that one at least, they're all printed in very big numbers, but those ones are at least a smidge tougher. Yeah. So there is it's a little nicer, and they're not super expensive if you're not looking for a high grade copy. But both of those are good. 90 Upper Deck, I prefer just slightly, just my personal preference. But Peachy Premier is the classic one that they use for that. So either way, you're good. I would go with UD just because I like the design better. That's a personal thing. I read it has a nice ring to it. Stop being an Eric. It's true. Now, since he won't do it for himself, and I did ask him to remind me what name was, I had to find it my damn self. It's because I couldn't remember. So, folks who seen name here, that's the name of the podcast that he has with a buddy of his where they do it. So it's
Don't
on
watch.
basketball, indigenous basketball, and talking about stories and things related to that. So you guys can check that out if you're interested. The War
Don't check
Scouts
it out.
podcast.
No, do not watch it. Do not give him likes. Do not give him views.
Eric personally endorses it.
I do not personally endorse it. Do not watch this.
There are fewer things. Listen, I have seen few things that Eric cares about more than Reggie Lemon, mayonnaise, and War Scouts podcast. These are his passions in life.
No.
Passions in life.
I do have a passion for Reggie Lemon Ding Dong. But when it comes to mayonnaise and War Scouts podcast, they're on the same filthy plate that goes right in the trash.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah. Don't eat mayonnaise and don't watch War Scouts podcast.
Yep. Facts.
No, not facts.
10.4 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like the mayonnaise of cold. I like it, Paul.
Llama, ding dong. Love it.
Hey, he's added some more pieces to it. That's what I'm saying.
Sure did. I like it.
Are you sure you didn't watch some Manual in Space there, Eric? You know, are you sure? You seem like a changed man since you started Googling that. Just saying. No worries. UD French Medano. Like I said, if you like a slight variation, like there was the early days. If you want to go back to ye old days, if you guys go, we've talked about it before. You guys remember the Jack of all trades? That documentary that was card adjacent. We'll call it card adjacent. It has something related to it, but then becomes like, oh, my dad abandoned us. I was like, dude, I don't give a shit about it. But I'm sorry, I don't care about your family melodrama. However,
talk about cards.
If you are interested in a little bit of history, though, one of the key pieces was that his dad, when he sold out the business, he sold it out to Carlos with a K. You should never trust Carlos with a K. But Carlos with a K, who today still runs Sluggers. And he runs Sluggers. He does the show circuit. He's been at a lot of those CSC shows that we've been to. I think Sluggers 55 or something like that. So he was around. And he's been at the expo for years. He's got some pretty nice high-end stuff in the modern, a lot of these categories. But what basically started, I believe, if memory serves me, what started the store when he did it is he did a deal where he traded him. I think it was a case of Upper Deck French.
One or two cases, yes.
Yeah, and because at the time the Upper Deck French had a major premium because people thought it was super rare relative to it, and it wasn't. Like, not really.
That was the sucker deal. I don't know.
Yeah, and so he basically got a card shop out of it. So Upper Deck French, once upon a time, basically bought a man a card shop, which to this very day, from the early 90s to this very day, he's still in the business.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And
all in a couple of cases of Upper Deck French.
Maybe Card HQ will end up being worth a case of Upper Deck French.
A case of Upper Deck French.
By the end.
Bobby, if for some reason we go into war-torn Atlanta, your favorite place in the world, if we venture down so that you can, in an expedition for wings, you think maybe I could trade Geoff a case of Upper Deck French so that I could take over Cards HQ and sublease it and actually run the damn thing properly?
That would be great. Yeah. At least to get something done.
Listen, I think I could get it done because being Carlos with a C, the proper spelling of Carlos, I'm already in a major advantage. Huge edge right there.
I just throw it out there.
Where's his name? Karen A's. I like the way you think.
It does suck that all those Hall of Famers from 1990 to 95 or whatever, their cards are worthless. Their rookie cards are worthless, and it's not until they maybe got their very first insert card that was limited to a small number that they first had a card that was actually worth anything. And was really pursued by collectors, because Madonna, great player, maybe the greatest American player of all time. His rookie cards are worth 25 cents. I think
it would have been interesting.
Well, you can get $1 or $2. It's apropos.
One.
It is
the Opecia Premier. You can still get a couple bucks for, Eric. You can put it on a table. You list it for $5 and somebody gives you $3.
But this is where the hobby should go, into increments. We go up and down the slide. And unfortunately, the mass production of those rookie cards, that is really a point in time in the marketplace, which is fine. But it's great because other younger people can afford those cards. And I think that's where we're at. But now we're at such a high level. It's like it's out of the reach of most people, and it's went a little crazy. So it went like this and just. And is that good for the hobby? No.
I wonder
and
though,
it has come back down. And I make a saying that we always compare it to the pre-pandemic, but if the card market was going up like from 2017 to 2020 up on a 10% grade, let's say. So if we take 2023 and we hit that mark, but we kind of go up because we're still going up. So what we're doing is we're stepping back and estimating, compared to here, but really the market has dropped maybe even past that point. If you take that consideration of 2023 of the trajectory of where the hobby would be opposed to where it, that static number in 2020. Anyways, regardless. So if stuff comes down enough where it's reasonable, which is good, it's good for everybody because then there's more commerce. There's more people buying. They don't have to speculate on a $27,000 rookie card. It just gets out of hand, and it puts it in the hands of the upper echelon. And who has a chance to have a hobby that way? It really isn't. There's no way in hell I'm ever buying a Pelican case. And if I do, you see me, you hit me with it. That's it.
There you go.
So prices going down is a good thing. It's actually going to help the hobby. If they go up, it's going to hurt the hobby.
No, I get it. I think what would have been interesting, kind of to Eric's point, though, imagine, given the world that we live in, like I said, we're going to see it now with the Connor Bedard thing coming up here. O-Pee-Chee just came out. So there's already a couple of cards there that are starting to sell for a pretty penny coming out of O-Pee-Chee. And O-Pee-Chee's low end. So, it's nothing super crazy. It's the more accessible.
Do you see
I think though
what AMG had to do? Our sponsors, AMG.
Limited the number of boxes. Yeah.
Had to limit the number of boxes. So people are going in there saying, I'll take everyone I get my hands on.
Yeah. No, for sure. But all I'll say is my point that I'm getting at is that imagine though, if you took some of those players from that 90s group and put them gave them the upper deck young gun treatment. Imagine that 90-91 rookie class, Modano and Fedorov and all these great Hall of Fame players who became Hall of Famers, 100%. Yeah, Yager, won Stanley Cups, became Hall of Famers, all the things that you want. This class had all of these things. MVP, scoring titles, this group, between all of them, collected tons of hardware over the course of time. An amazing rookie class. Imagine if they had upper deck young guns. Imagine if they had future watch autos, upper deck cup RPAs.
It would have been
if
crazy.
they had that had been available with that rookie class and that many hits inside of them, people would be losing their minds. You could have split them up into Series 1 and Series 2 and still do tremendous. Curtis Joseph was in 90-91 O-Pee-Chee Premier.
You'll never have a rookie class like that ever again.
Never.
That was
because you would have had Curtis Joseph and you would have Martin Brodeur in both in 90-91.
I know. And there's so many. You can keep the list going. And all those guys who have their career already done now, you looking back, you're going, holy jeez, the amount of rookie guys, like unbelievable.
And there were some guys who had a cup of coffee, a run where they were still stars, even though they didn't become like the super duper star, but they were still star players for a run of time there. That was huge.
Sure. Yeah, it was a nice run.
Yeah. So
but the market had its way. So the market had its way in 2020 and 2023, I guess, to that point in time. So what had happened there? So it just shot out of the reach of most people's hands. And, that's where it got a little dangerous. And now it's coming back down. Hockey wasn't so bad, but, they're trying to compete and blow everything up. But, keeping it reasonable is okay, It's, the Connor Bedard's, okay, he's going to stand out. But the rest of the players, milk toast for the most part. They shouldn't be worth a lot. But how many sets are you going to do, Fanatics? We'll see.
We'll see. JW here says, do you all like the Pat McAfee show? I think it's great. So there are segments that I like. There are moments where Pat McAfee grades on me a little bit. There's times where he annoys me. Him sucking up Darren Rogers, though, gets old real quick. There are segments, though, where I like it. It just depends on what the topic is and what they're talking about. That's really what it comes down to for me. I don't mind their dynamic. Again, depends on the topic. It's hit and miss for me, just depending on the topic.
I
Got any thoughts on McAfee?
I don't really have an opinion on it. It's on at the shop in the background, and it's like white noise. And rarely do I look up or listen. So I do know who he is. I know he's a former kicker for the Colts, and I know he has a show, and he's usually wearing like a white tank top or some ridiculous thing.
Well, I built himself a little mini empire there. Yeah.
And,
Even before he went to ESPN, they had a pretty good
I
deal.
know that he is getting more and more popular all the time, but I have not really sat down and listened and paid attention to his show, so I really can't comment on it.
I like Paul's last line. I'll leave it here. I'll leave it like this. I like his last line though. But damn, it's gonna be fun to watch it die. Again, this guy studies serial killers. I'm just gonna remind you what we're talking about here. Andy, she blind river factors. Good evening, Andy. Good evening, gentlemen. Listening on the drive home from the basketball game. Good stuff. Bill Eric for another like. Will do. Thank you, Andy.
Andy, what's the problem?
Bob Ozel says, "Amen. I want more player binders." Fair.
Don't
Mike, baseball collector here. Good evening, Mike. I says, what do you consider to be the Mike Medano rookie, Carlos? 90, 91 OPG Premier. That's the rookie. If you're going to pick the one, that's the one that most people will associate. It makes a lot of sense. If you are willing to accept it, I still prefer the Tiffany's. I like the Bowman Tiffany myself. For me as a collector, I like the Bowman Tiffany because, again, it is a little bit more limited, but it's not technically a rookie. But if you're talking about the regular rookie, 90, 91 OPG Premier. That's the card.
Yeah, watch it. Victor might chime in.
I know. G.O.A.T, he hate me, Wilson. I'd like it to be he hate me. That'd be awesome. Michael loves the rookie card debates. I know. Are McAfee and Aaron Rodgers a common law couple? They might be at this point. McAfee is the real life equivalent to film Wayne's World, a grassroots show that goes corporate. To be continued. We fear change.
Yes, always happens.
That's okay. Listen, he's got a young. He just had a kid, so now he's had a family. Like at this point, and here's the thing: going with ESPN, he actually made less money than he was getting with the deal that he had going with the thing beforehand. But it was more stable. I think it's a situation where he was looking at it and going like, "You got more security built into this deal
contract."
So even if ESPN ruins it in certain way, he has more ability to cash out better. But the deal he had going with who was it? It was a gambling thing. I forget who it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was regardless, he had a deal FanDuel. Maybe it was FanDuel. Regardless, he had a deal with something like that. It was FanDuel or somebody related to it, similar. But they were getting more money per year for that deal.
Yes.
But I think he just wanted the security of knowing that it meant that he would have his show, but then he would also get to do all these other things potentially related to it. So it meant that he himself would have a little bit more security, having multiple jobs rather than just
having a kid that actually, puts you in more protective mode. So yeah.
So you'd rather secure at that point, like he had made some money and now is an opportunity to secure it with a good. It's not like, by the way, it's not like he's getting paid chump change. He's still getting paid pretty decent. He'll be all right.
How much is enough anyways, right?
Yeah. So even I bought one of those Medano 91 OPG Premiers. Yep. On a road trip to Oregon that summer. Yeah. It's the classic car. And that set, like I said, full of Hall of Famers. It's 100. I think it's 132 card set. And if you go look at the composition of it, the amount of star players and Hall of Famers and young rookies that were good, it was for 132 cards. It's crazy the amount of quality you were able to get into such a small checklist.
Look what they went to in the boom. Like some of the 9s and 10s were just like, what? Crazy. It came back down pretty quick.
There's a little while there where the PSA 10 Medano went nuts for a little bit there. Yeah. And I was like, here's the thing, no joke. I had a PSA 10 Medano and I still do. But at the time,
I had sold it and bought it back.
I did
10 cents on the dollar.
That's basically what I did. Yes, Bobby. So what I had is I had a PSA 10. I sold it for a large premium, because I actually bought it raw and had a 10. And then I went and submitted one of my other ones that were in my box, and I got a 10 on that one too. So it's like, so basically what I did in effect is I sold one for a profit, and then I just went into my box, grabbed another one. And as long as they're well centered, for the most part, you're going to get a 10. Like,
yeah, the card stock was very nice and sharp. Well cut.
It was solid.
Everything.
Yeah. You have to pay attention for the obvious things.
Cards. They were
make sure the surface isn't scratched or something wacky, but like pay attention, a little bit of attention, and you'll get a 10.
They were nice looking cards. I'd have to give them credit for that issue. They were the best ones actually out of all of them. You said you like the bone, what personal preference, but good set.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul says, love Deion Sanders. Had all the rookies PSA 10. Sold them all when the price got too high. Bought back the 9s for 5% or less of what the 10 sold for. So I agree with this. So for a collector, look, I had the 10 because I had the card raw. I submitted and got a 10. Truthfully, for the most part, if you're a collector, a 9 is fine.
Pretty much.
And you'll get it for like pennies. Like
And
you can get a little pennies.
Not like it's a big investment. Yeah.
No, it's so cheap that it's like, why bother paying any premium at all? If you already have it and you get it graded and it gets a 10, well then great, that's fine. But I would never have bought a 10 for myself. The only 10s I bought were ones for some of the other companies because I got so bored at a certain point with some of the thing that just for fun, I have a BGS 9.5, their gem mint before they obviously started screwing around with all the numbering and everything. I have an SGC 10. I have a KSA 10. The only one I'm missing basically is an SGC 10. And at some point I'll get one just to fill it out. I have KSA. At some point I'll get an SGC. ASA. Oh, ASA? Well, that one I don't have. That one I don't have. Can't over there. Not Hockey Collector, but obviously for nostalgia, I'd like to pick up a Hall 10 OPG at some point. Yeah, the Hall's a nice one.
Yeah, and it should be pretty easy. Those cards were pretty good that year.
Yeah. Bought them all already graded, but the serial number is double digits. So, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, so it's after that's one of those cards. Like I said, when Mike asked the question, I said, no hesitation. 90-91 OPG Premier. That was the card for the longest time for them. But it'd be funny, like that's a situation where again, if I just had money and I was just screwing around, I'd be like, I wonder how many of these I can get my hands on. It's like oh, I have like 20 of them. Look, I'll give you $2 a piece. Just give me the whole stack, and you just accumulate like a whole crap ton of because there's just so many. There's tons.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the other ones are even more plentiful. Like I'm sorry, the other ones are even more plentiful, which is absurd if you think about it. Actually, that reminded me, I did see this.
Put out too.
What was that?
That year, he had an upper deck. Madonna had 2 cards.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They had the rookie. It was the rookie team, whatever, and then it was the actual base card. No, we know we're talking about the 80-89 OPG. I know. Yep, with the little thumbtack on the front. It's a fun card. So there was something. I actually saw that I think somebody extrapolated what the print run was of 2024 Topps Series 1.
Really?
Yeah, they tried to extrapolate it. You can kind of guess based on some of the numbered cards and the ratios because when you've got those ratios, you can approximate it. You can approximate it pretty well. I want to say Neo talked about it a little bit. Let's see if I can find it. I want to say it was like 800,000 or 900,000 for the base.
That's
for each base card. Yeah. So I'll see if I can find it, but I think it was somewhere in that range. But hell, for the sake of argument, I'll bump it up to $1 million. That's actually probably higher, but I'll bump it up to $1 million. But I laughed because some folks were like talking about that and thing. And you know what the thing I thought, Eric, like in all seriousness, like here on the one thing, I listened to Neo's video on it and I generally agreed with his take. And his take was kind of like, well, this is the flagship set. You can print lots of it and like it's supposed to be available. It's supposed to be the set that if you want to go get a blaster for yourself or you got kids and they want to open some boxes, you should be able to go to Walmart or Target or whatever and go get a blaster and have at it. Like it should be available at all times, basically. That's perfectly fine as long as everybody understands that's what it is, and that's fine. But you know what's funny? As much as that is, and that's a lot of cards. You know what? I looked at it. I go, that's still like between a third and a quarter of the real Junk Wax era. Everybody look at that number and they think in their brain like, oh my god, that's so much money. I'm sitting there like 1991 Donruss was like 3 to 4 million per. So it's just like you're still not a fraction. You're still not even close. You gotta triple that print run, and then we start talking. Triple it.
Have that printer running 24/7.
But think about that.
And all the extras that are sitting in people's collections that they can't sell right now.
Yep.
And what do you do?
To this very day. I missed parts tonight, so not sure if you covered, but did you see CC2 at HQ Trade Night? Hard Collector Q. He set up shop. Lions Kid selling to a fair game was funny. He was making more than Jeff, probably. That's true. I did see that video. It was good quality. I was like, look, Card Collector 2, you can like the guy, not like the guy. The videos are good quality. Like they put together nice videos.
I watched that one that he went to
Mm-hmm.
Leaf headquarters.
Did you see what I told you though? Did you see the thing where like they're like he's like sorting the thing, hand collating, dunk, dunk.
Oh
dunk,
yeah,
dunk.
yeah. Why is this all scratched up?
He's like all but spiking. He's like all like touchdown spiking each one of them down. I'm like, Jesus, man, calm down. Calm down. I know they're one touches, but calm down. Calm down, sir. I just thought it was funny. I got a kick out of it.
No, I listen. I watched the same thing and was thinking the same thing. Going, Jesus, those things are easily scratched. Can you imagine you pay money, you open up a box, and all of a sudden you take this thing out, and the plastic on the mag hold is all scratched up, and it's because of this guy's just slapping the things down. I mean, that's not good quality control,
That was kind of the question. Yeah, that was kind of the thought I had related to it. And okay, so I found it here. So this is from Neo's video. He actually looked at the tweet in question, or the X or whatever they call it now. So I can quickly show you guys. So this is what I was referring to. So here from Neo's video. So here's the picture of the tweet and everything. 2024 Top Series 1 approximate number of cards per player. 350 card sets. Base 899,553 cards. Royal Blue 5249, Rainbow Foil 7374, Gold Rainbow Foil 899, Aqua 1795, Yellow Gold 205, Yellow 2150, Golden Mirror 142, and Silver Crackle Foil 1346. The thing is, if you add all of these, so like I said, for my purposes, I just said let's round up to 1 million. Even if I add up all of these together, by the way, it doesn't get to 1 million. But even if I added all of these up and pretend it's 1 million, it's still a fraction of the real Junk Wax era. That's why I still get a kick out of it. It's like, and this is pretty heavy duty production. Like it's a lot of printing, no doubt, but like it was 3-4 million for every set, for every brand, for every year, for that early 90s and late 80s period. Oh, like listen, if you go behind the door there, Eric, that you can see from Eric, they're still printing 88 Topps baseball right now. To this very day.
No doubt.
Yeah, I thought it would be much higher. I think what hurts it is that not a lot of people build the sets anymore. So it's like it doesn't the demand isn't there. It's just not getting absorbed. But in fairness, the old era, the demand wasn't there to absorb all that either. That's why we still got so many boxes and cases. Unlike 79 O-Pee-Chee Hockey, 88 Topps Baseball, 89 Topps Baseball, 1990 Topps Baseball, 1991 Topps Baseball, 1991 Upper Deck, 1991 Donruss, 1991 Fleer. We got lots of it. Wait, Fleer! We got lots of it. We got all the Fleer that you want.
Sound like Mr. West.
I need to invoke it a little bit. If you're going to do it properly, you need to invoke it a little.
Yes, you did a good job.
It's enough to kill resale is all that matters. Yeah, but Series 1 Topps flagship. Why are you opening that product for resale? Really?
It's for pleasure.
Like it should be because you want to get a couple of cards from your team, or get a couple of cards from your player, or maybe you put together a set. Maybe you're that person who still hangs on to the building a set. That should be available to you in abundance to do that.
Oh yeah.
I want it to be available for you to be able to do that. Or if you do have kids and for some reason you subscribe to that whole, we're kids in the here, go buy some blasters with 2024 Topps flagship. Here you go. Plenty of them. Have at it. 99 O-Pee-Chee is somewhat okay. Yeah. They were a little marginally more restrained with the O-Pee-Chee, but not by much. There were still plenty of those too. Zach says, I love CC2 videos. G.O.A.T is trying to show off and educate Ryan. If G.O.A.T was smart, he'd be taking notes from Ryan. Probably, yes. Like, it was funny is that Jeff was fishing for compliments from Card Collector 2 on his trade night. And of course, he's going to be like magnanimous and give it to him, because again, he's got this gigantic space. So let's make sure we're clear on this. If you're going to run an event, the Cards HQ space is tremendous because you've got all that room, you've got all that space to put tables and do all kinds of things. So if you're running an event, this is actually not a bad spot because you've got cards, you've got equipment, you got materials, you've got supplies, you got all these things you can do to make it a good experience for people. if you wish to do that. Card Collector 2 has become infamous for running these trade nights out of a store. But the store space is so much smaller relative to the other one, right? So like there's only so much you can do. That's why they have a tent outside sometimes and try to find overflow space to fit people because the shop is only so large. It doesn't encompass space. Jeff has so much more room to put more people. The question is, can you build enough events to pack it consistently enough to make it worth your while?
I will tell you, no.
Is it because of Atlanta? It's because of Atlanta, isn't it, Bobby?
No, it's because it's in Georgia.
So you've expanded your hatred and your war to the whole state now.
Yeah. And then even the states around there. Louisiana, where I don't even know.
So Bobby fights to the Union. He is against the Confederacy, Eric.
Most people should be.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that up here, so we don't know. All I remember is the Boston Tea Party.
There you go. I'm gonna have to watch this video. Yes, you should. You should. Look, if you want to see Card Collector 2 actually executing his plan, he was doing what he was doing what he was out there to do. And then occasionally chatting with G.O.A.T during the course of it, and G.O.A.T trying to, like I said, fishing him for compliments a little bit there. Like, okay, yeah, I get it.
I haven't talked to Tim in a while. Not for any reason, just haven't. Oh, good Lord.
Emmanuel in his face.
I believe Tim was there, so I am curious to ask him.
In Emmanuel in his face?
That wouldn't shock me at all.
It would.
No,
maybe he had sleep apnea and he got excused.
Maybe. But I am curious to see what his take on it was. And what his thoughts were.
Cards Ace Cube?
Yeah. I don't know. If they had hors d'oeuvres, he's cool.
If you look in the videos that like Ham did, you'll see like a whole glassed in storage room with all BCW, supplies.
Right.
Yep. Tim's the one that's supplying all that, so, and he was there for the grand opening, I believe. So I am curious.
I'm surprised he didn't make the video then. Because there was a G.O.A.T video, and obviously G.O.A.T has had the partnership with Tim and Slabstrong, which they licensed to BCW. So they still have a relationship, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously he was there. So I'm surprised he wouldn't have made the video in some capacity at some point, like a cameo or something. Video.
Well, like I said, I haven't talked to him in a while. For there's no reason why, he just haven't. So I am curious to ask him. So
keep reinforcing that there must be something.
I'll reach out to him next opportunity and ask him what his thoughts were on it.
Just lead with, I forgive you for your betrayal in revealing my dark secrets of shoes in washing machines.
Not because so much it's that nincompoop, bringing that word back again the second time tonight.
Yes.
I forget which commenter said that earlier, but I liked it.
We're expanding our vocabulary as we speak.
Oh yeah, nincompoop, love it. So it's not just because it's that nincompoop. I want to talk to anybody that was there. I'm Ham did a great job talking to us last week about it, but I want to hear boots on the ground opinions. So I'm definitely gonna reach out to him. Yeah, I'm sure if we were that curious, we could get him on here to talk to us about it, but I really don't want to be abused again.
Nothing wrong with being abused.
Every time he comes
you mean exposed?
Every time he comes on
for your transgressions,
me, and he hurts my feeling, and he picks on me and makes me sad.
Damn.
Yep. So JW here. So MLB getting ready to crank up. Yeah, pitchers and catchers in a couple of weeks, I think. Carlos, you still big on Soto? I'm looking forward to it. I hate the Yankees, but I'm hoping that Soto does well. So I'm kind of torn on this. But if he does well, it'll make things really interesting. Yes, I am still big on Soto. I still got it here within arm's reach. I have to still finish processing everything. But I picked up one of these guys. I like the little color match thing with it. So this is the Select Rookie Year. So that's in a 9. That's a fun card. And these ones are the out of 99s. So it's actually pretty nice. Rookie Year, parallel out of 99. Kind of semi-color match to the whole Washington thing going on. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun to see what's going to happen. I would love for him to get off to a hot start, though, because look, when it comes to the hobby, we have to factor in 3 things. Number 1, I love the potential content that can come out of it for me personally, because when people lose their minds, it's very entertaining. Number 2, I just want to see the guy play well, because I do like the player. I think he's a great young hitter, and I see potential. Can he reach that potential? Can he achieve what we see he could achieve if he uses all of his talents? And number 3, I want to see how the hobby itself reacts to that. So even beyond the content piece of it, if he succeeds, what is that going to look like? Because there was so much hype at the beginning as he came up. They won that World Series that bumped him up. He had that success with Washington, and then he's had these years in between. But here's the thing: last year was seen as a disappointment by some, but statistically, the advanced metrics, he had a good season. And in terms of traditional stats, he had a pretty good season. So all of a sudden I'm sitting there like, okay, so the geek stats say he had a good season. Traditional stats say he had a pretty good season. So I'm like, what am I looking at? He seemed to be playing okay, pretty good. The team just wasn't good. So we'll see. I guess people were just expecting exceptional, and he had a pretty good season, like a pretty darn good season to tack on to what he's already done so far. But expectations are high. But in New York, if he is able to succeed in that venue, could be pretty good. You get pretty exciting. Second, Eric, you like MLB? He loves it. Favorite thing in the world.
I'd rather watch my mother and her friends play mahjong than watch a fucking baseball game.
Don't lie. You literally live for mahjong. You live for it. Bobby, I'm in Clearwater, Florida next month. Spring training hype, Fair. Eric is the baseball oracle. Facts.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby agreed. Eric is hiding something.
If Steve is the hockey oracle, then I'm the baseball oracle. Absolutely.
No doubt. Eric loves baseball, especially the A6 Red Sox and Marty Barrett.
Marty Barrett and Spike Owen and Dave Henderson and Don Baylor and Jim Rice and Dwight Evans and Wade Boggs and Roger Clemens and Calvin Schiraldi and Bruce Hurst. They can all go suck a bag of them.
That's a good wind-up.
Yep. The space just doesn't bother me. If he fails, I'm not sure it's going to be the space. He could block off space if needed. I just think people make a big deal of large space. You still have to pay for the space, though. Even if you get presumably favorable terms. Like, here's the thing about retail. Yeah, well, it's not even that. Here's the thing about retail. If you're going to have the space at all, then you need to maximize the value of the space. Just having space for space's sake. Again, when you've got a big event, it makes sense. When the rest of the time, it's literally an empty void, and it's like, you're paying for this anyway. So what the hell are we doing here? Why even bother? You could have accomplished most of what you were looking to do, probably, in a space a fraction of the size, and got it cheaper. Even if you got a favorable rate, you still could have gotten it cheaper and had a warehouse space to house a bunch of cards and run the e-commerce out of the warehouse.
Go big or stay at home, I guess, right?
Yeah. Do you hear that, Kathy? Eric will root for you. Facts.
Absolutely.
Scoundrels and vagabonds watch baseball. I like it.
Vagabonds.
While eating a bucket of mayo with a spoon. True.
With a fork. So thick.
Oh, God, so gross.
We don't need no stinking spoons.
I'm not listening.
The A situation at this point is very entertaining. Yes, it is. I agree. They've got a very, very strange. I've only been keeping marginal tabs on it. The thing with baseball and me is that I'm not a spring training guy anymore. I don't pay attention to it. I want regular season games before I even start really paying attention to regular season games. And then when we get to playoffs, then I'm fully invested. Then I'm in. Let's see what happens. But the A situation is weird, man. It's going down sad. It's like, and the A's organization is strange because, and this is kind of unique. I like that the like button thing appeared again. By the way, Eric, I had 2 hands on this, so don't come bitching to me about it.
Can anybody explain why that bubbly thumbs up thing comes on
and near you
on StreamYard. Yeah, and only on me.
That's weird.
What does that mean? Does anyone else in the chat know
I
about
thought at one point I
StreamYard?
could control it. I actually thought Eric, Bobby, I actually thought there was a way to trigger it. But again, Eric, just so we're clear, my hands were on my drink.
I don't understand it. And
So you can't blame me for this shit. I'm sorry.
if anyone can explain to us why that thumbs up bubbly thing pops up, I would really like to know.
Yep. But anyway, so the A's situation is interesting, but like historically, the A's as a franchise have a unique history, I would say. Because if you think about it, the early days was the Philadelphia A's, which was a big run of their history. And then they wound up in Kansas City for a cup of coffee, and then ended up in Oakland. And now but in Oakland, they were there for a long time and had success and won World Series. And like in the 70s, they won 3 straight World Series. Like they had success. And in the late 80s and early 90s, they had successful teams. And now look at them moving again. They're this long-running franchise who may be in their 4th location. It's bizarre.
I could name a whole bunch of those Oakland A teams too.
Yeah,
They used to play against the Red Sox when I cared. I could go down a list and bang out a whole bunch of them Oakland A's back then.
But does that hurt collecting a little bit? That your favorite player jumps around from different teams?
If you're a Ricky Henderson
Same
collector,
team, but different.
Can you imagine being a Ricky Henderson collector?
Yeah.
Good. Or a fan of Ricky Henderson. You never know what team he's playing for from year to year.
Yeah, it's horrible.
He played here in Boston. He played in San Diego. He played in New York.
Anaheim.
He played in Anaheim. He played in Oakland. I mean, and there's more.
He played in Toronto.
True.
He did. He played in Toronto. In addition, he did. It was a rental, and it was an effective rental. He was good. He helped. So, and Ricky Henderson was an effective player everywhere he went. So it was like he still did a good job. So Zach says, I guess my argument is that we don't know what he paid, which is fair. What if he looked at the space half the size and it wasn't that big a difference? I don't know. Maybe. I understand. Here's my contention. Even if it wasn't the dollar amount difference, I just think wasted space doesn't actually help. The thing about retail is that part of it is the aesthetic. Part of it is how you design the store. And this is important because you literally have people who obsess over the configuration of a store. They take this space. You could take 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet, 5,000 square feet. It doesn't matter the number. You're going to have somebody who you could come up with 1,000 different configurations for how you build out this store and how you're going to run it and how you're going to make it look. And the point of this endeavor is to be like, for the person that comes in there, you're trying to encourage people to come in. You're trying to encourage people to spend some time there. You're trying to encourage people to buy the shit that you expect them to buy. That's the number one. So whatever you design, showcases, shelving, backgrounds, whatever you're looking at, an Apple store is designed the way it is because they decided that this was the best way to sell the product. That's the way it's designed the way it is. Otherwise, they would have made the store double the size, half the size, whatever. They would have just changed the configuration and said, we're going to do it this way instead. They just decided this is the way we're going to do it. That makes the most sense for us. Just sell the product we're trying to sell. We need people to look at it. We need people to handle it.
I think they need a Starbucks in there.
Ooh, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Eric showers in Mayo on Saturdays. Facts. Eric, does that mean you're half Filipino? Maybe. And bathes in on Tuesdays. Cleanliness is godliness. Yes.
I'm gonna throw up. You guys are gonna get me to puke live on the YouTubes.
Content.
It is.
You get the thumbs up because you pay for the Merrick. Facts. I hope they send pest control to Oakland Coliseum to remove raccoons and possums. He can send the raccoons to Eric. He knows how to take care of it. I will not stand for this trash talk of the rally possum. True. Al Davis ruined the Coliseum. Fuck the Raiders. There you go. Oakland should have an amazing stadium down by the port by now. Not sure if it was a failure of the politicians or ownership being too greedy. Probably both, but it's a failure. I think it's a little bit both. But like I said, I stand by my stance. If I'm in any municipality, I don't care what it is, I do not want to contribute one dime towards your fucking stadium. I don't. Not a penny. Because if this is your idea, you need this stadium so bad, you're a businessman. Take out a loan. Do whatever you need to do. You build it. You finance it. It's your shit. It's your job to produce a product that we're interested in watching. Great. But I'm not paying for it. No, thank you. The reason East Bay couldn't have a team in 2024? Maybe. Fisher bought when it was time to pay up for the project. Since GAP stock sank right around that time, the project was like 30 to 50 million away from being fully funded on city side out of like 800 million. Yes, they were being a little bit cheap. I do remember that. It was directly being done, and the A's walked away. JW says, I love baseball. It's the most exciting individual of failing, but successful team sport there is. P.S. Love the floor plan of Eric's dungeon. Approved by Cards HQ. There you go.
Done.
Gary and Eric to puke is the goal, which reminds me of the time I put mayo in sports coffee when she served was forced to drink it. Ha ha!
There you go.
Eric is the draws of the channel. He's got to puke. He's got to puke. That's the Vince McMahon special.
Yeah, and look what happened to that poor bastard. I think he's dead. Now.
I don't think he was poor. I think he deserved everything he got. You're talking about draws. Sorry.
Yeah.
Draws less so. Vince, yes.
I think draws passed away. I think finally.
He did, yes. Unfortunately, that's another one of those situations where something happened live, and WWE kind of walked away from it. It was kind of weird. I actually think it's too small. G.O.A.T needs more room for bleachers to watch breaks. True. Billionaires are capitalists until they have leverage to ask for help, and they mysteriously compromise on that. That is true. Draws passed away a few years ago. Fair.
The thing about having a big store, especially right now, okay, in the beginning, and having empty space.
In the beginning,
I don't find it to be a bad move because it will allow you to expand. If you start off in a small space, you're stuck there, okay, for the first few years. You can't, have a small space, have it just be absolutely insane for 6 months, and then start shopping around to move. So this allows them to grow with what they already have. Like I said earlier, I think they need to have sports memorabilia. I think they need to mix it up and have many different things to sell and make money with. So some of that empty space can immediately be filled as soon as they come up with, okay, what else are we going to bring into the store? Whereas if you had a small store, you can't do anything. You've handcuffed yourself. You can't have a section of this section of the store is sports memorabilia. You're screwed. So I think it's smart to have the biggest space that you can afford because it allows you to grow in that space because you can't do it the other way around. If you play it smart and get something small, that's it. You're a small shop. You got no move. So I think we will see them expand within that shop shortly.
Well, they got to do something.
Yeah, I think they will. Why?
I do still think I'll stand by my theory that I think they put the cart before the horse. I just noticed Eric's declaration.
They have the space for that, though, Carlos.
I don't support you. I don't support you in any way. I literally tell people every single Friday, I don't like you. I want you to fail. I want you to go away.
Eric Tapper hosts Card Shop Rescue. First stop, Cards HQ. Could we get Ramsey for Kitchen Nightmares just for the hell of it?
That'd be good.
It's raw.
Yes.
It actually works. He just goes to the section with the value boxes. It's raw. It's true. You're right.
And throws it against the wall.
Yeah, great. Sensational. That, my friends, is content. That's how it's done. All right. So I think I'll be honest, we can probably call it a night there. I think it's been pretty good. I had a lot of fun with it. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Yeah. I think we've covered a lot of the topics we wanted to talk about. We'll save a couple of things. By the way, I want to thank everybody who did support the last podcast episode. I guess we'll talk about cards then, since y'all seem so keen and intent on actually talking cards. I guess. If you are enjoying the game on Sunday, do enjoy. Like I said, I will figure out the exact timing on everything. I've already got the thumbnail and everything ready to go. I will think about it, and I'll set up the placeholder there, and there'll be some kind of a post game. Or maybe late game / post game. I don't know. I'll figure it out, the timing and everything. But otherwise, that'll be coming up on the channel. And then on Tuesday, we'll have the next podcast episode will drop. I think I've got a couple of ideas for a topic, but we'll think about it a little bit and we'll play into it. Good evening, Kathy. Thank you. Appreciate you. Cuddles
Hey,
Probes
Mom.
to Jeff during HQ closing. The hobby has spoken. True. So thank you all for participating in the chat. On your way out, if you get the like button, Eric appreciates that. The floating thumbs up also appreciates the floating one. Come on. It floated in space all by itself.
Nope.
We had no
And
control
I want
over it.
someone to explain to me what the hell that's all about.
It is your conscience saying, hit the thumbs up. I must pay for watching Emmanuel in space.
Nope.
All those
Don't
times.
know what that is. Don't want to know.
Yes, you do.
No.
All right. Everybody in the chat, everybody else, little time left on Friday on the East Coast, little time left on Friday on the West Coast. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday if you do watch. Have a good one. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.